Chapter 1423. In fact, the butler system alone was enough to satisfy all of Chun Zhao's family's needs. The other advanced technologies were just icing on the cake. There were no truly epic-making technologies, and there were no revolutionary products. Some of them were already known technologies, and then new ones were being developed. For example, the satellites of the security company were actually government and military satellites modified and put into the civilian market. However, normal companies couldn't get the license to operate satellites. The truly advanced part was the butler system's own intelligence. The pet management system was just a magically modified version of the facial recognition system. Of course, there were more functions that Chun Zhao's family had to experience by themselves after moving in. The most commonly used functions were facial recognition, voice recognition, and fingerprint recognition. The not-so-big butler system had already turned Mingwei Villa into a small sci-fi town. Li Qiong spent a week debugging the butler system for Chun Zhao. When she was done, she received a check for $500,000. Li Qiong was quite pitiful. Chun Zhao didn't express any intention to take things further with her. They weren't the same kind of people, after all. However, a check of $500,000 was enough to satisfy her. During this period, Dashin beer's market value reached $1.3 billion. This was mainly because after the tropical storm, Dashin beer temporarily stopped production and went on the market again, performing strongly in the market. It sold more than 1 million cans a day and was already the leader in California. There is also news that Dashin beer would be sold in America. This attracted the attention of investors. More than 20 investors had already inquired about Dashin beer. They wanted to buy or invest in Dashin beer. The bank was even more anxious about the negotiation. They bought 20% of the shares at a 200% premium. If they couldn't come to an agreement, Dashin beer's market value would probably exceed $1.5 billion. In the end, the bank would probably have to pay a much higher price than the initial estimate. By then, the negotiation to buy the shares might end in failure. Therefore, the bank bought 22% of the shares at a market value of $1.4 billion plus a 200% premium. That was $924 million for 22% of the shares. Although the bank would help Chun Zhao start the tax avoidance plan, he still had to deduct a portion of the tax in the end. This was unavoidable. In the end, Chun Zhao would get around $800 million. However, this money wouldn't come in all at once. After all, tax avoidance had to be done bit by bit. It couldn't be done all at once. $200 million had already entered his account. This was the first time he had earned such a large sum of money since Nanchi Island. Moreover, in the next half a year, around $800 million would gradually flow into his personal account. Mr. Chun, what do you think of this design? Orford Robier asked. If I say I want to increase the budget, can you change the plan? Chun Zhao asked. Now that he had money, he couldn't help but want to spend it. Ofer La Bill was in a difficult position. After all, it had taken more than a month and a design team of dozens of people to complete the design. If it was a small modification, he could accept it. However, overthrowing the design plan was unacceptable to him. How much does Mr. Chun want to increase the budget? Orford Robier asked. I want a $300 million yacht. Ofer Lerby almost spat out water. Mr. Chun, are you serious? Yes. Chun Zhao nodded. A yacht worth $300 million US dollars? It was $200 million US dollars more than the original budget. A yacht worth $300 million US dollars was enough to make it into the top 10 yachts in the world. Mr. Chun, no problem. We can come up with a new plan, but it'll take a month. Sure, let's do it. Chun Zhao nodded. This man wasn't just rich. He was super rich. Orford Robier had thought that Chun Zhao would only increase the budget by 10 or 20 million. His team of designers had worked for more than a month. From design to labor and time, it would cost a few million. Of course, he wasn't willing to redo it. But now, Chun Zhao actually wanted to increase the budget by 200 million. Then there would be no problem at all. Just the thought of bringing such a business deal to the company made Orf Lerby's blood boil. Yachts were one of the most valuable luxury goods in the world. Within 5 years, they could maintain their value by 90%. Within 20 years, they could maintain their value by 70%. During these 20 years, technology would change, and the depreciation of the currency would far exceed the value of the yacht. This meant that if Chun Zhao designed the yacht with a budget of $300 million, it could still sell for $200 million in 20 years. This was why rich people liked to play with yachts. When they got tired of them, they could sell them and get a new one. Or if they needed emergency funds, they could get them through exclusive yachts. Don't think that all rich people were unreasonable. With this kind of money, they could buy a new one. Actually, not everyone was willing to wait 1 or 2 years, or even 3 or 4. Yacht construction technology had changed. Unless it was a super cruise ship, it would take more than 3 years. If it was just a yacht, it would take no more than 1.5 years, including the design time. This meant that Chun Zhao would get his own yacht by the end of next year. Oh, do your company have any ready-made yachts worth tens of millions? Before the custom-made yacht is completed, I need a replacement. Yes, of course, Orford Robier said excitedly. In just a year, Chun Zhao was actually willing to spend tens of millions to buy a replacement. The world of rich people was indeed unreasonable. Of course, Orford Robier definitely wouldn't make money from this yacht. After all, he had to give Chun Zhao some commission. Mr. Chun, what's your budget? Less than $50 million. Sure. I'll give you the yacht models and quotations that our company has in storage as soon as possible. It won't take more than 3 days. Please wait a moment. Oliver Labill sent the news back to the headquarters on the same day. It was a $300 million deal, and this was the biggest deal Seagate had ever received. No one dared to underestimate this deal. In the past, Chun Zhao didn't really care about yachts because he didn't want to live on the sea even if he spent so much money. However, in the past year, after going out many times, he felt that yachts were a necessity. Chapter 1424. At the beginning of August, the construction of Mingyue Villa was finally completed. In fact, the basic construction had already been completed half a month ago. They could already move in. There were still some workers left, but it wouldn't affect the occupancy of the villa. Nevertheless, Chun Zhao still decided to move in after the construction was completed. After all, there were a lot of shameful things in the house. If the construction workers found something unusual, it was hard to guarantee that the news would leak. Chun Zhao, Fei Lai, Zhilin, and Larissa entered their new home. Behind them was a large group of pets of various sizes. Chun Zhao put Zhilin on the ground. The first thing he did was to hang the river painting in the living room. Actually, Chun Zhao didn't hide from Fei Lai when he went in and out of the painting many times. Fei Lai also knew that this China landscape painting was different. Zhilin carried the kitten Samuel. Samuel had been in the house for more than a year, but it still hadn't grown. It was still the size of a kitten. This was because Samuel's original body was too powerful, so his projection couldn't grow in this world. The others, such as Beelzebub, Raymond, Carrie, King Kong, Amon, Black Ma, and White Ma, had all grown quite a bit. Amon's body had changed the most. If he appeared now, he would definitely look like a monster. Little Zhilin was already screaming, running wildly inside and out of the manor. The villa was 600 square meters. It had 4 floors above ground and 3 underground. There were 2 elevators that led to the Bright Moon Beach at the bottom of the cliff. The total area was around 4,000 square meters. The entire villa was more than 20,000 square meters. Little Larissa arrived at the new home. She squeaked, trying to break free from Fei Lai's arms. Chun Zhao and Fei Lai carried little Larissa to the yard. The sea breeze blew in their faces, bringing with it a bit of saltiness. Actually, too much sea breeze wasn't good for one's skin. The sea breeze was corrosive to a certain extent. However, Chun Zhao's family had never worried about their skin. The courtyard was to the left of the villa. It was more than 200 square meters. A crepe myrtle tree shone in the wind, filling the courtyard with purple mist. Crepe myrtle trees had many pests. Very few people planted them because touching the bark occasionally would cause allergies. However, in order to plant a crepe myrtle tree in the courtyard, Chun Zhao had vaccinated and removed the pests. He also buried an angelic crystal under the tree. Chun Zhao knew that Zhilin loved to climb trees. And when little Larissa grew up and hung out with Zhilin every day, there was no guarantee that she wouldn't follow Zhilin's temper. The glass fence went around the entire courtyard, and the outside of the fence was the cliff. The cliff was about 40 meters away from the ground. It was neither too high nor too low. Making it a glass fence was mainly for the sake of the two little ones at home. They were likely to drill their heads through it, and it would be dangerous then. Therefore, it was made into a glass guardrail. They couldn't get through even if they wanted to. "Master, may I ask if we can start preparing dinner now?" An underling ran up to them. Due to the destruction of the Mirror Lake Villa, the lesser demons never had the chance to come out. Now that Chen Zhao had finally moved, they finally had a chance to show off their talents. They didn't have to idle around like before. "Go." Chen Zhao nodded. "Move the stuff to the beach. Our family will have a barbecue on the beach tonight." Since he had just moved in, there were still some trivial matters that needed to be dealt with. For example, asking the whole family to record the facial recognition and voice recognition of the butler system. In the evening, the sun set in the west. The surface of the sea was completely illuminated in red. The scene was so dazzling that one couldn't look away. Soon after, the bright moon rose from the sea. This scene was not inferior to the setting sun and the sea before. Amon and Little Nine also appeared in the sea under the night sky. In the sea, the two of them could play unscrupulously. If it was Mirror Lake, they wouldn't dare to do anything. They were afraid that the waves would wash into the villa and Chen Zhao would punish them. In the sea, the birds could fly freely in the sky, and the fish could swim freely in the sea. There was also a cave under the cliff. It was the new home Chen Zhao had specially prepared for Blackie. There was no need to hide it. Anyway, no one could climb there. "Little 3, Little 2, Little 1, come out and play," Chen Zhao called at the cave. The three-headed dog poked its head out and looked at Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao pointed at the sea. "Little 9 is calling you." Woof! The three-headed dog jumped down from a height of more than 20 meters and landed on the beach. "Let's go down too." Chen Zhao's family went down. A group of underlings were busy on the beach, running up and down. "Fei Lai, put little Larissa on the sand. You don't have to carry her all the time." Yeah, Mom," little Jerlin said proudly. When Jerlin was little Larissa's age, she could already crawl. Chen Zhao rolled his eyes at Jerlin. This little girl already knew how to boast. "Chen, should we have a moving party this time?" Fei Lai asked. "Let's wait for Jerlin's birthday," Chen Zhao said. Her birthday is less than half a month away. When Chen Zhao had brought Jerlin back from San Francisco, it was half September last year. She was already a month old then. Her date of birth was August 17th. However, Chen Zhao hesitated. Should he call Jerlin's other relative, Alex, over? In the end, Alex was Jerlin's aunt too. Jerlin struggled to help Larissa up. She wanted to carry Larissa, but she wasn't strong enough. Unfortunately, she didn't have enough strength, so she could only help him up. "Little Larissa, use your legs. You need to use your legs. You're so stupid." In the end, Larissa's legs gave out, and she fell onto the sand. Jerlin couldn't stand properly either and fell onto the ground. Roar, roar. Suddenly, there was a roar from the sea. Then Little Nine came ashore. Chen Zhao saw that one of its heads seemed to be holding something in its mouth. Upon closer inspection, it was actually an adult great white shark more than 6 meters long. Little Nine tossed the shark before Chen Zhao and Fei Lai, looking like he was going to reward them. Chen Zhao's face darkened. "Little Nine, eat it yourself. What's the point of giving such a big shark to us? Also, shark meat isn't delicious." "Master, shark meat can be eaten after processing," the underling said, running to Chen Zhao. "Shark fins are also delicious." "I've heard of shark fins, but can shark meat really be eaten?" Chen Zhao asked, confused. Chen Zhao knew the general reason. Sharks didn't have a urinary system. Their urine came from their skin, so shark meat was very smelly. It had the smell of urine. Cut off the shark's fins. Little Nine can eat the rest. Don't waste it. Also, eat all the sharks within 10 kilometers of the coastline. After all, they'd settled here. Chen Zhao couldn't let the sharks continue wreaking havoc here. Chapter 1425. Chen Zhao was sitting on the rooftop with Jerlin and Larissa, enjoying the sea breeze and sunlight. Suddenly, an untimely phone call came. "Butler, answer the phone. Chun Zhao said lazily. Every corner of the Bright Moon Villa and Bright Moon Beach was equipped with sound detectors. Chun Zhao could talk to the butler system and give orders at any corner of Moon Villa and Moon Beach. Hey, Chun, I heard that Fei Lai's child is already born, right? Robio's voice sounded. Yeah. Did you hear about it too? Yes. When can Fei Lai come back to work? Robio exposed his intentions. Robio had no choice. The Angel Beach Coastal Rescue Team really lacked people. The Coastal Rescue Team had long working hours, high work intensity, and average benefits. Furthermore, there were high requirements for the members' physical fitness. Not everyone could join just because they wanted to. Fei Lai's personality and physique were outstanding in the Coastal Rescue Team. She was also kind and responsible for her work. So, Robio wanted to pull Fei Lai back. Fei Lai had been pregnant before, so he had no choice. But now that the child was born, she should come back to work. What he was afraid of really happened. Chun Zhao had a headache. He basically told all his friends. Only Robio hadn't been contacted. It wasn't that they weren't close. It was just that Robio had called Fei Lai to work. Robio, you've heard of the Chinese tradition, right? After giving birth, women have to go into confinement. Yeah, I've heard of it, Robio answered. Fei Lai's had a child for a month, right? That should be enough, right? You need to do it for 3 years after giving birth. Chun, don't lie to me, okay? I'm serious, Chun Zhao said seriously. When Fei Lai recovers, I plan on having a second child with her. Actually, Chun Zhao was already satisfied with 2 children. For now, he didn't plan on having a third child, but he would try to fool Robio if he could. Just then, Fei Lai walked up to the rooftop with fruits. Robio, don't listen to Chun, Fei Lai said. I plan on returning after the child is 3 months old. Chun Zhao screamed. Fei Lai, are you going to leave me and the children? They're still so young. Do you have the heart to do that? Fei Lai glanced at him. Stop acting pitiful. Fei Lai had been cooped up at home for almost a year. She was about to go moldy. Chun Zhao didn't want Fei Lai to leave. He thought that it would be best if Fei Lai stayed at home every day and lived alone with him. But he couldn't force it. He and Fei Lai weren't married yet. Even if they got married in the future, they couldn't stop Fei Lai from working and doing what she liked. Right, Robio, it's little Jerlin's birthday on the 15th of this month. We're planning to have a birthday party for her. Why don't you come with the Coastal Rescue Team? No problem, but I need to think about what gift to prepare for the little princess. Uncle Robio, little Jerlin is very happy that you're here. There's no need to prepare a special gift. Little Jerlin's words were sweet. Chun Zhao sighed again and again. He stood up, wanting to jump from the roof into the sea below. The other side of the rooftop was the sea. Just as Chun Zhao was about to jump down, Fei Lai suddenly stopped him. Chun Zhao froze. This height wasn't a problem for him. But on second thought, he couldn't make a wrong and dangerous demonstration in front of a child. Chun Zhao smiled awkwardly. Little Jerlin's dimples appeared on her face. Daddy's naughty. Mommy scolded me. Little Jerlin was only 1 year old after her birthday, but her little brain was already smarter than a 4 or 5-year-old child's. Just then, a patch of blood appeared on the surface of the sea. Chun Zhao looked over and saw a shark struggling on the surface. However, Amon and Little Nine weren't nearby. They'd gone to the nearby sea to investigate the terrain. If it wasn't the two of them, then what attacked the shark? Was it another shark? It wouldn't be surprising if sharks killed each other. Sharks like to kill each other. To them, their own kind was also on their list of food. But the shark wasn't small. It should be a tiger shark more than 5 meters long. Generally speaking, marine creatures that grow to this size, unless it is a highly intelligent creature like a killer whale, other marine creatures will rarely attack them. Even if they were their own kind, they wouldn't attack an adult tiger shark more than 5 meters long. Before Chun Zhao's family had moved in, there had been too many sharks here. Little Nine and Amon couldn't be killed, all of them. These sharks were also very cunning. Once they smelled Little Nine and Amon, they'd flee the area in groups. Once Little Nine and Amon left, they'd return. There seemed to be something here that attracted them. Moreover, most sharks were only 1 or 2 meters long. For Amon and Little Nine, they were too small. Sharks of this size weren't much of a threat to Chun Zhao and Fei Lai, but they were still a threat to Jerlin. Chun Zhao picked up his bracelet. It was a function watch, mainly used to communicate with the butler. After going down to the beach, Chun Zhao lifted the bracelet and said, "Butler, help me lock on to sharks more than 3 meters in the nearby waters." Not every type of shark needed to be cleaned up. However, any shark more than 1 meter long was a threat to Zhurlin. So, Chun Zhao would rather kill the wrong one than let it go. 823 meters to the left, 15 meters underwater. There's a 3-meter-long rat shark. Through satellite detection, as long as the water quality was clear and the depth wasn't more than 20 meters, the satellite could see through the water. In the coastal waters of Bright Moon Beach, the water quality was not polluted and belonged to the shallow water region. Most of the water was about 10 meters deep. After entering the water, Chun Zhao swam in the direction the butler had pointed out. Chun Zhao had already sensed the rat shark's location. He could see it as soon as he went down. But just then, a black shadow suddenly entered the range of Chun Zhao's little world. At first, Chun Zhao thought that Amon had returned. But the next moment, he realized that it wasn't Amon. The black shadow was huge, but it wasn't at Amon's level. It was only 30 meters long. Soon, Chun Zhao saw it with his naked eyes. It was a shark, a terrifying two-headed shark. The two-headed shark had come too suddenly. Before Chun Zhao and the rat shark could react, the two-headed shark had bitten the rat shark. Please remember this book's domain name. Mobile version. Chapter 1426. The two-headed shark moved. Chun Zhao moved too. Chun Zhao swung his legs and charged at the two-headed shark. He punched the shark's mouth. But in the sea, Chun Zhao's strength was reduced by 70 to 80% due to the water's resistance. Even so, the two-headed shark was still dumbfounded by Chun Zhao's punches. This small guy didn't seem to be easy to deal with. Run! Chun Zhao felt a thought in his mind. Chun Zhao's eyes narrowed. The emotion seemed to come from the shark. Chun Zhao understood animal language. At least, he understood most of the languages in the world. Of course, they didn't have a complete language system like humans did. They could only express simple emotions or intentions. This shark didn't express its emotions through words, but through its mind. Chun Zhao was confused. Where did this big guy come from? Was it a mutant? Or was it from another world? Don't run. Come back. Chun Zhao immediately moved his limbs and chased after the two-headed shark. The two-headed shark swam too fast. Chun Zhao used all his strength but still couldn't catch up. Of course, the two-headed shark couldn't shake Chun Zhao off either. With one chasing and the other escaping, the two had already swum dozens of kilometers. Sharks had great stamina. Due to their special respiratory system, they didn't have gill covers, so they had to swim continuously to let the oxygenated seawater enter their bodies. It was impossible to expect a shark to be tired. Plus, this shark had eaten quite a lot in the sea outside Moon Beach. Chun Zhao felt that he had to be serious now. He definitely couldn't let this strange two-headed shark stay at his house. It was too much of a threat to his family. If he wasn't around, Fei Lai and the others would play in the water and be bitten by the shark. His family would be ruined. Chun Zhao didn't want to regret it. Avinko, Danny, and their mercenary group were on a patrol boat. "Danny, where's the target?" Avinko asked. "The target is 30 kilometers from us, in the sea to the left." "Wait, it seems to be coming for us," Danny said, looking at the radar screen. "It seems to be coming for us," another mercenary said. The others couldn't help but look serious. They had already fought several rounds with the two-headed shark at sea, and each time, they returned empty-handed. They had also lost quite a number of people. The two-headed shark's cunning had also refreshed their understanding of it time and time again. This time, he finally managed to plant a tracker on the two-headed shark. It was the first time in a long time that he had the initiative. But now, this two-headed shark had taken the initiative to attack. This made them a little afraid. Confronting this two-headed shark head-on at sea was obviously a very unwise choice. They were mercenaries, although they had a lot of military weapons. But this was the sea, unless the two-headed shark rushed out of the water for them to fight. Otherwise, their weapons would pose little threat to the two-headed shark in the sea. Their patrol boat was only 10 meters long. If it was hit by the two-headed shark, it was likely to capsize. They had experienced this a few times before. Even bigger ships could be knocked over. This time, he chose the patrol boat, mainly because the patrol boat itself was small, agile, and fast. It was extremely convenient to evade on the sea. Throw the mine down, Avinko said. This was also their original plan. According to the original plan, they planned to secretly track the two-headed shark, then throw a torpedo on top of the two-headed shark's head and use it to kill the two-headed shark. Actually, they had tried this a few times before. It had only worked the first time and injured the two-headed shark. The next few times, the two-headed shark became even more cautious. The two-headed shark's stamina was really strong. It had swum at such a fast speed for more than 100 kilometers, but it still showed no signs of slowing down. When Chun Zhao sped up, it sped up too. Chun Zhao was already planning to give up. There was no point in chasing it. Just then, the two-headed shark suddenly slowed down. Huh, could it be that this fellow was tired from swimming? Chun Zhao immediately sped up and chased after it. But just when Chun Zhao thought that he was about to catch up to the two-headed shark, the two-headed shark suddenly swung its tail and sped up again. Then, the two-headed shark suddenly sank. Chun Zhao's heart jumped. Did it think that it couldn't go deeper? Chun Zhao dove into the deeper water. Just then, a force came from beside him. Chun Zhao was dumbfounded. The huge force knocked Chun Zhao off course. Then, the force came continuously. Fuck mine. Chun Zhao was dumbfounded. How could there be a mine here? This was already the outer sea. How could someone throw a mine here? Also, was this mutant shark a spirit? It must have lured him here on purpose, right? When Chun Zhao came back to his senses, the two-headed shark had already escaped without a trace. Chun Zhao floated to the surface, depressed. In the distance, he saw a patrol boat. It wasn't a coastal patrol boat. The mine had probably been thrown by that boat. Chun Zhao felt that the boat and the two-headed shark were together. Chun Zhao sprinted toward the boat. Boss, there's someone in the water. There's someone in the water? How is that possible? How can there be someone here? Could it be someone who fell into the water? That person swims really fast. He's approaching our boat. Avko took the telescope and looked at the sea. There was indeed someone swimming toward them in the waves. But now he was hesitant. Should he stop the boat? Where's the shark now? It's already left our vicinity, Danny said. Stop the boat, Avko said. By then, Chun Zhao had already swum to the patrol boat and jumped onto it. It's you. Avko and Danny recognized Chun Zhao. Wasn't this the monster-like man they'd met in Abilene, Kansas? Chun Zhao also recognized Avko and Danny. You two asterisk souls. You plotted against me? Chun Zhao stared at them angrily. Mr. Chun, what do you mean? What did we plot against you? Avko was very displeased with Chun Zhao's attitude. Nevertheless, he didn't want to have a conflict with Chun Zhao. After all, he and Danny had seen how terrifying Chun Zhao was. Boss, who is he? Doesn't he know where this is? Should we kill him and throw him into the sea to feed the sharks? Mobile version. Chapter 1427. It was just like how the mercenaries were looking at Chun Zhao with evil intentions. Chun Zhao also looked at the mercenaries with evil intentions. Avinko and Danny broke out in cold sweat. If Chun Zhao hadn't boarded the boat, they might have thought about it. But now that Chun Zhao was on the boat, if there was a conflict on the boat, everyone on the boat would probably die. Mr. Chun, I don't know what you're talking about. We didn't plot against you. I was chasing a shark, Chun Zhao said. But you attacked me with a mine. You're chasing that shark too? Avinko was surprised and happy. Chun Zhao narrowed his eyes. You too? Chun Zhao wasn't being unreasonable. If he thought about it calmly, he could guess that the mine wasn't aimed at him. It was aimed at the two-headed shark. However, since they could detonate the mine so precisely, it meant that they had a way to accurately track the two-headed shark. We have a mission. You have a way to track the shark, right? Let's work together. You just need to help me find the shark. You don't have to do anything else. Sure. Avinko agreed without hesitation. Avinko's subordinates didn't like Chun Zhao, but Chun Zhao ignored them. However, the shaking of the patrol boat really made Chun Zhao uncomfortable. Seasickness was Chun Zhao's weakness. Lying on the deck, Chun Zhao said, I don't feel well. Call me when you find a shark. Avinko and Danny exchanged glances. They realized that Chun Zhao was indeed not himself. This caused the two of them to have their own thoughts. Just then, a mercenary came to their side. "Boss, we found a shark. It's 12 kilometers to the right, 300 meters below sea level." With that, the mercenary looked at Chun Zhao, who was lying on the deck. "Boss, who's that guy?" "A monster," Avinko said. "Are you sure it's okay for our boat to chase the two-headed shark?" The mercenary asked hesitantly. "You have to know that we were piloting a 30-meter-long ship last time, but it was sunk by that two-headed shark. That depends on the man's ability." Avinko wasn't very confident either. The monsters he encountered at the construction site in Abilene, Kansas were not as big as this two-headed shark. Avinko wasn't sure if Chun Zhao could handle it. Moreover, this two-headed shark was too cunning. Avinko had never dealt with such a difficult opponent. "Boss, we're on top of the shark. Right now, the shark is swimming below us." Yavenko nodded and walked to Chun Zhao. Just as he was about to wake Chun Zhao up, the boat suddenly tilted at a 45-degree angle. Everyone rolled over, and most of them fell into the sea. Following that, two bloody mouths emerged from the water and sucked in 3 or 4 people. Avenko reacted quickly and grabbed the railing. "Mr. Chun." Chun Zhao opened his eyes and saw a black shadow in the water. Chun Zhao dove into the water and grabbed the shark's fin. The two-headed shark sensed that there was someone on its back and immediately dove into the deep sea. It seemed like it wanted to kill him with the pressure of the deep sea. Unfortunately, Chun Zhao's water pressure was much stronger than it had imagined. Moreover, this was not considered a deep sea. It was at most 300 meters deep. It was far from its and Chun Zhao's limit. The two-headed shark sensed that Chun Zhao was still on its back and hadn't fallen off. It flipped over and rubbed its back against the bottom of the sea. Chun Zhao had to admit that he had never seen such a smart shark. This shark clearly wasn't an ordinary one. Chun Zhao didn't hold back this time. He punched the shark's back. The two-headed shark started struggling in pain. However, its form limited its attacks. It couldn't do anything to Chun Zhao on its back. 10 minutes later, the two-headed shark finally had no more strength to struggle. It flipped and floated to the surface. Chun Zhao also sat on the shark's abdomen. Just then, the patrol boat drove over. The boat had almost flipped over, but it hadn't really capsized. After all, modern boats all had a center of gravity. Unless it was hit by an absolute force, it wouldn't flip over. Otherwise, he would be able to adjust the gravitational field and reposition it. Avinko and the people on the boat saw Chun Zhao and the two-headed shark under him. How is it possible? The two-headed shark didn't eat him? How'd he do it? Did he fight with the two-headed shark in the sea? And then you killed the two-headed shark? That's unbelievable. The patrol boat drove to Chun Zhao's side. Chun Zhao jumped onto the boat, but just then the two-headed shark, which should have been killed by Chun Zhao, flipped and dove into the deep sea. Fuck, I was tricked. Even Chun Zhao was dumbfounded. This was the first time he'd been tricked by someone, no, by a beast. He'd thought that although the two-headed shark had mutated, its characteristics should be the same as a regular shark. Regular sharks would suffocate if they stayed where they were for 30 seconds. But this shark had played dead for more than 10 minutes. Even Avinko and the others didn't expect the shark to be so cunning. Mr. Chun, track it. Track that shark. I'm going to slice it into pieces. Chun Zhao roared. Mr. Chun, you broke the shark's tracking device. What? You're blaming me? Chun Zhao was furious. He grabbed Avinko's collar. I didn't mean that. I have something to do. I'm leaving. Chun Zhao felt embarrassed. He really didn't have the face to stay here anymore. With a splash, he jumped into the sea. Avinko and the other mercenaries stared at Chun Zhao, dumbfounded. Boss, it's more than 100 kilometers from the coastline. That guy just jumped in like that. Avinko shook his head with a bitter smile. There was really nothing he could do about the two-headed shark. If even Chun Zhao couldn't handle it, staying here would only cause more losses for them. Avinko picked up the phone. Hello, sir. It's me, Avinko. Done? No, we'll give up on this mission. We can't do it. Please remember this book's domain name. Mobile version. Chapter 1428. Shameful. So shameful. He'd actually been tricked by a shark. When Chun Zhao swam back to Moon Beach, he saw a school of sharks gathering together. Chun Zhao's heart jumped. Theoretically, with Little Nine and Amon, two terrifying presences, these sharks shouldn't dare to come. But this school of sharks went back. Sharks didn't have the habit of staying at home. As long as the water was right and there was enough food, they could swim anywhere. Their natural tendency to avoid danger meant that once they discovered danger, they wouldn't appear in the same area again. However, this group of sharks continued to swim in the water. This was different from the habits of sharks. So, Chun Zhao suspected that there was something here that attracted the sharks. Chun Zhao dove into the water and followed the sharks. The leader of the sharks was a great white shark, more than 7 meters long. Behind it was a group of sharks of different sizes and species. Usually, sharks of different species wouldn't stay together. Even sharks of the same species wouldn't stay together, especially medium and large sharks. They were usually alone. But these sharks didn't attack or tear each other apart. Chun Zhao followed far behind the sharks. At that moment, the sharks came to the cliff of a trench, and a cave appeared in front of them. The sharks dove into the cave, and Chun Zhao followed right after. Chun Zhao realized that the cave was very deep and rugged. Finally, they reached the deepest part of the cave. There was actually a shore in the deepest part of the cave, but there was a corpse on the shore. It wasn't a human corpse, but a demon's. When Chun Zhao was about to approach, he realized that a force was blocking him outside. Small world, demon territory. This demon territory came from the demon's corpse. Demon territories and small worlds repelled each other. The sharks weren't stopped. They charged at the demon's corpse and started tearing at it. So they'd been attracted by the demon's corpse. Could it be that the two-headed shark also devoured the demon's corpse and mutated? But the two-headed shark couldn't have entered the cave with such a huge body, so it hunted its own kind. The greatest possibility was that the two-headed shark was the first shark to enter this place, and it was the first to grow and mutate. After that, because it was too big, it couldn't enter this place, so it began to attack and devour its own kind that wandered here. From there, he could obtain their demonic powers. This demon's corpse had been dead for an unknown period of time, but it had not rotted at all. However, one of its arms had already been bitten into pieces. However, even the largest great white shark could only tear off a very small piece of meat when it tried to tear it apart. Chun Zhao pressed forward. The demonic domain was very strong. It was even stronger than Chun Zhao's small world. Perhaps the small world did not represent the full strength of the opponent, but the small world still determined the outcome of the battle to a large extent. This demon was already dead, so why did his demonic domain still exist? Normally, when a person died, everything would disappear, including the demonic domain. Chun Zhao's heart skipped a beat. The modified version of the dazzling spell that the handsome guy had taught him could swallow other people's demonic domains. However, it could only swallow the demonic domain and small world obtained through external objects or tricks. If it was cultivated through one's own talent, it could not be swallowed. Chun Zhao didn't know whether the demon had obtained the demonic domain through tricks or had cultivated it himself. Chun Zhao started using dazzling spells. When magic arrays appeared one by one, the sharks discovered Chun Zhao. However, their instinct was not to attack Chun Zhao. Instead, they fled. Like children who had done something wrong, they scurried around the cave crazily. The exit was blocked by Chun Zhao. Chun Zhao's aura also made them fearful. Dazzling spells started to corrode the demonic domain. However, the speed was very slow. Last time, Chun Zhao had used dazzling spells to corrode Kant's Mosa's demonic domain, and it had only taken a few hours. However, this demonic domain was many times slower than last time. It seemed that this demon's demonic domain was his own. It was not obtained through external force or tricks. In theory, one's own demonic domain or small world should not be swallowed. However, this demonic domain was a helpless one. The reason for its existence was still unknown. The master of the demonic domain was already dead, but it was still operating. This gave Chun Zhao the chance to devour it. Chun Zhao did not know the reason, but this was a rare opportunity. Chun Zhao planned to spend some time to completely absorb the demonic domain. Gradually, as Chun Zhao absorbed the demonic domain bit by bit, his small world started to expand. It was different from the last time when he absorbed Kant Mose's demonic domain. It was completely incompatible with his own small world. This ownerless demonic domain was merging with his own small world and expanding further. Chun Zhao's demonic domain was filled with the power of water. The power of water was turning into magic power and merging into his body. This was the same feeling as when his small world absorbed the spiritual chi of the world and merged it into his body. However, this time, Chun Zhao was absorbing the magic power from the water. Chun Zhao guessed that it was because the demon's demonic domain absorbed the magic power from the water that it could continue. Because it was soaked in seawater, the seawater gave the demonic domain infinite magic power. Thus, the demonic domain was maintained passively and did not dissipate with the death of its master. As Chun Zhao continuously devoured the demonic domain, it expanded. The original diameter of the small world was more than 30 meters. Now, it had expanded to more than 40 meters and was still expanding. This demon's demonic domain was much larger than Chun Zhao's small world. Just then, a voice sounded from Chun Zhao's earpiece. "Darling, where did you go? Do you need to prepare dinner tonight?" "I'm nearby," Chun Zhao said. "I'm dealing with a shark problem." "Oh, do you need me to prepare dinner for you?" "No," Chun Zhao said. "I think I can only go back after midnight." Chun Zhao did not want to give up halfway. He wanted to absorb and transform the demonic domain in one go. He was also familiarizing himself with the demonic domain's characteristics. Chun Zhao's heart jumped. Vortex. A whirlpool with a diameter of 3 to 4 meters appeared around the great white shark's body, binding the great white shark. Please remember this book's domain name, Nine Heavens Divine Emperor Mobile Version. Chapter 1429. Chun Zhao's small world could allow him to fly, although he could only fly at a height of around 100 meters. This demon territory could allow Chun Zhao to control water flow. Rather than calling it a demon territory, it was more like a deep-sea territory. As Chun Zhao devoured and transformed, the deep-sea territory and the small world kept merging. The deep-sea territory was unable to resist Chun Zhao's devouring. The devouring speed became faster and faster. It was much faster than he had expected. Chun Zhao used almost 10 hours to complete the deep-sea domain and merge it with the small world. The small world had a diameter of 100 meters. This was a big gain for Chun Zhao, putting aside the functions of the merged deep-sea territory. Just the area covered by the small world increased. So did Chun Zhao's magic power. Chun Zhao glanced at the sharks that he'd tortured. He didn't kill them. Instead, he tossed them out of the cave. Chun Zhao went to the demon's side. As the demon territory disappeared, the demon's body was rotting at an alarming rate. Chun Zhao understood that the demon territory and the demon's corpse had a mutually reinforcing relationship. The demon territory maintained the demon's corpse, while the demon's corpse maintained the demon territory. Once this balance was broken, both sides might collapse. Now that the demon territory had been taken by Chun Zhao, the demon's corpse also lost the support of magic. In the end, it couldn't escape the fate of rotting. In the end, only the skeleton was left. Chun Zhao put it away and went to the shore of the cave. A black trident stabbed into the rock. Chun Zhao pulled it out. It was so heavy. This trident probably weighed dozens of tons, right? Is this Poseidon's trident? Chun Zhao sent magic power into the trident. Instantly, the surrounding seawater started boiling. Chun Zhao felt that the black trident seemed to resonate with his magic power. This thing is not bad as my weapon. It's heavy enough and can control seawater. It looks like the legendary Poseidon's trident. But in the legends, Poseidon's trident was golden, while this trident was black. Moreover, the legendary Poseidon's weapon could split the sea. This black trident definitely didn't have that ability. This demon must have specially made this black trident for his own demon territory. Perhaps he'd studied Poseidon's trident. Chun Zhao came out of the cave. The sharks of different sizes were still outside the cave and hadn't left yet. However, Chun Zhao didn't feel any hostility from them. A few sharks circled around him. Go away, or I'll kill you. Chun Zhao suddenly realized that he wouldn't get water even if he spoke in the water. The sharks were so scared that they ran more than 10 meters away, but after a few seconds, they turned back. They didn't dare to approach Chun Zhao, but they didn't want to leave either. They only dared to watch from afar. Was it because of his deep-sea domain? Chun Zhao took out a demon bone and tossed it to the biggest great white shark. The great white shark immediately opened its mouth and began to chomp. The other sharks also opened their mouths and surrounded Chun Zhao. Chun Zhao tossed a few bones to them. Come here, Chun Zhao ordered. A few sharks swam to his side. In fact, the intelligence of sharks was not low. In the sea, the intelligence of sharks was second only to that of killer whales. But most of the time, they were driven by their appetite. Chun Zhao took out a few bottles of wisdom potion and tossed them to the 5 sharks. They bit through the bottle and swallowed the potion. Without my order, don't hurt any humans, Chun Zhao ordered. If you understand, nod. The 5 sharks actually nodded at Chun Zhao, although nodding was a very difficult action for them. After all, sharks didn't have necks, but they still moved their heads up and down. There were 5 sharks before him. One was a 7-meter great white shark, and one was more than 5 meters long. The other 3 belonged to a small group. They were 3 rat sharks. The big one was more than 3 meters long, while the small 2 weren't even 2 meters. Go chase the other sharks away. Chun Zhao had a plan. He would have them act as guards here and patrol the nearby waters. After all, it wasn't easy for Amon to come to some shallow waters. Amon was more than 100 meters long and 15 meters tall now, so he couldn't move around in some shallow waters. With these 5 shark guards, they could be the patrol team here. Plus, the demon's corpse had disappeared, so it wouldn't attract sharks anymore. Chun Zhao didn't plan on getting more shark guards either. After all, if there were too many sharks, it would destroy the ecology of this area. Chun Zhao still liked the natural environment. At the same time, he could ensure the safety of his family. Just then, the 5 sharks suddenly grew nervous. A black shadow loomed over them. The 3 rat sharks were the most cowardly. They turned and fled immediately. The great white shark and the bull shark stared at the black shadow nervously. Without Chun Zhao's order, they didn't flee. On the other hand, Chun Zhao controlled the water flow and pulled the 3 rat sharks back. Come back. They're not enemies. Chun Zhao saw that Little 9 had returned. Little 9, do you see them? From now on, the 5 of them will be your underlings. Protect them. Little 9 saw the 5 sharks. His 9 heads glowed fiercely. If Chun Zhao wasn't beside them, he probably would have attacked already. The 5 sharks were all very nervous. Thankfully, Little 9 was much smarter than them. After receiving Chun Zhao's order, he only threatened the 5 sharks a little. From now on, you're the 5 tiger generals. Chun Zhao playfully gave them a name. You're Guan Yu. Chun Zhao pointed at the great white shark and then at the bull shark. You're Zhang Fei, you're Ma Chao, you're Huang Zhong, you're Zhao Yun. Chun Zhao named them the 5 tiger generals according to their size, from oldest to youngest. Chun Zhao couldn't recognize them just based on appearance, especially the 3 identical rat sharks. They all had shifty eyes, so he could only distinguish them based on size. Follow Little 9 and patrol our territory. If you encounter other sharks, either bite and eat them or chase them away. With Little 9 leading the way, they didn't have to be afraid even if they encountered the mutated 2-headed shark. Little 9 was enough to deal with the 2-headed shark. Now that the demon's corpse had disappeared, the 2-headed shark might not come to this area again. The 5 tiger generals were all like wolves and tigers. They completely treated themselves as Chun Zhao's loyal dogs and followed his orders obediently. In the blink of an eye, they disappeared before Chun Zhao's eyes. Please remember this book's domain name, mobile version. Chapter 1430. Chun Zhao rubbed Fei Lai and lay in a movie theater on the second floor, watching the finished movie that Steven had sent over. Although Steven's new movie had not been released yet, the post-production special effects and editing had already been completed. Outside the floor-to-ceiling windows was the vast starry sky, and below was the vast, undulating sea. However, the soundproofing effect of the floor-to-ceiling windows was very good, and the sound of the tides outside could not be heard at all. "Darling, when are we going to look for Treasure Island?" Fei Lai wanted to fulfill this wish before she went to work. She wanted to go on an adventure at sea. Chun Zhao scratched his forehead. "After Jerlin's birthday. Before that, let's buy a yacht together." "Oh, okay." After watching the movie, he deleted it from the hard drive. The movie hadn't been released yet. Even if it was at home, it wouldn't leak out. Chun Zhao didn't want to take the risk either. It was better to be safe than sorry. The next day, Chun Zhao received a call from Lerby. "Mr. Chun, do you have time to come to the North Beach Pier? Our company has mobilized a few yachts from other cities. Please take a look and see if you are satisfied with any of them." The North Beach Pier had another name, the Yacht Pier. Generally, for large yacht transactions, the yacht company would mobilize yachts from other cities to the customer's city according to the customer's needs and provide the customer with a tour and choice. If the customer was not satisfied, the yacht company would change another batch. Of course, if it was just a small or medium-sized yacht that cost $1 or $2 million USD, the yacht company would only show the customer the model and photos. Only after the customer had chosen the yacht would the real thing be delivered to the city. "Sure, I'll go over now." After hanging up, he asked, "Fei Lai, do you want to go see the yacht?" "Sure." Fei Lai was quite free at home, so she decided to go look at the yacht and help Chun Zhao choose. Of course, the two of them had to bring little Jerlin and little Larissa along when they went out. When they arrived at the pier, it was filled with yachts of various sizes. Many private yachts were docked here. There were also many yacht companies that had rented some berths, and there will be 1 or 2 yacht fairs here every week. Every year, there would be 3 or 4 international yacht exhibitions. Even when walking around, a few salesmen would come over and ask if they wanted a yacht. There were brand new yachts and second-hand yachts. The United States had a lot of yachts. It could be said that half of the yachts in the world were in the United States. As the largest yacht market, the Americans' affection for yachts was similar to that for cars. Moreover, a consumer yacht was the same as a car. Once you got bored of it, you could sell it and buy another one. As a result, the yacht market was booming. Just this yacht dock alone had a flow of over 100 million every month. Apart from the super yachts, there were all kinds of yachts here. Chun Zhao and Fei Lai each carried child. They indeed looked like a family that had come to buy a yacht. Lerby saw Chun Zhao from afar and immediately ran over. He didn't want Chun Zhao to be targeted by other companies. Although he didn't see any representatives from other companies of the same level, there were many salespeople and representatives from large companies wandering around the pier. These people had a list of more than 70% of the rich people in the United States in their hands. As long as they saw someone familiar, whether there was a chance or not, they would go over to strike up a conversation. At the very least, they would give them a business card. Chun Zhao was a very important client of Seagate. In fact, he could be said to be the most important client for the next 3 years. "Mr. Chun." Lerby quickly ran to Chun Zhao. "Is this beautiful lady your wife?" "Yes." Chun Zhao nodded. "These 2 little princesses are your daughters, right?" Lerby asked. "Yes." "This way, please. I also have 2 daughters." Lerby knew how to get close to clients. As they walked, he chatted with Chun Zhao. "But my eldest daughter is already in college. Do you know how I felt when I heard that she found a boyfriend in college?" "I've thought about it too," Chun Zhao said. "I think I'll kill that guy." The conversation between the 2 fathers was endless. Lerby also played to Chun Zhao's liking and kept talking about daughters. "Mr. Chun, Ms. Fei Lai, there's a row here. 6 yachts are produced by our company. Each one is unique." Lerby pointed at a row. The 6 yachts were all large and about the same size. "How about we board this yacht first?" "Sure." Chun Zhao and Fei Lai carried the child onto the yacht. Little Jerlin immediately wanted to get out of Chun Zhao's arms. Chun Zhao put Jerlin down and she started running around on the yacht. Ofer Lurby followed Chun Zhao and Fei Lai, introducing the yacht's various data and prices. After a few minutes, Jerlin ran back to Chun Zhao, panting, "Daddy hug." Chun Zhao picked up little Jerlin. "Tired?" "Yes." "Do you like this boat?" Chun Zhao asked. "No," Jerlin said, shaking her head. "It's not as big as our original boat." Ofer Lurby's heart skipped a beat. It seemed that this family didn't like boats. However, the yacht under their feet wasn't small anymore. It was 165 feet long, with a maximum range of 3,000 nautical miles and a maximum cruising speed of 25 knots per hour. Chun Zhao looked at Ofer Lurby. "I don't like this yacht either. I like a yacht that can be operated by a few people. It's best if it's highly automated." "Of course." Smiling, Ofer Lurby said, "It's my oversight. The 5 yachts behind can all be operated by one person. They're 80% automated." "Bring us to the last yacht," Chun Zhao said. "I like the big one." Because the last yacht was the largest of the 6, Chun Zhao was more inclined to it. "Of course." Ofer Lurby nodded. "But the price of the yacht?" "It's fine," Chun Zhao said. "If I like it, I'll buy it." Ofer Lurby was a bit excited. The last yacht was already a super yacht. Seagate only had one ready-made super yacht right now. It could be considered the company's face. "Mr. Chun, this yacht is called Hydra." "Huh? Why is it called that? Is it ordered by some evil organization?" "Huh? Of course not." Ofer Lurby laughed. "It's because this yacht uses a 9-cylinder engine. The 9-cylinder engine has the largest and highest power among all the engines of the same specifications." Chapter 1431. Orflobier's words were very fancy, but Chun Zhao didn't understand. Not at all. Chun Zhao didn't know much about these things, so he didn't understand these professional terms. "Will my custom-made yacht be a 9-cylinder model?" "No." Orflobier shook his head. "Mr. Chun, we plan to use a 24-cylinder super engine for your yacht, but we'll have to ask the German IFX company to customize it. It'll cost an estimated $80 million to develop." Chun Zhao was speechless. An engine was worth $80 million. One could imagine how much the entire yacht would cost. An engine costs that much too? "We only have the technology right now, and it's in the hands of the German IFX company. We don't have a finished product yet, so we have to turn the technology into a product. At the same time, we have to design and modify it according to our specifications. It's a very big project, so the 24-cylinder engine isn't expensive. To put it bluntly, this engine technology wasn't suitable for most machines. Mass production was impossible. If the IFX company wanted to recover their cost, they could only raise the price and use custom-made services. But the design isn't out yet. Mr. Chun, let's talk about the yacht first." "Okay, please continue." "This yacht is called Hydra. It's 298 feet long and has a maximum height of 124 feet. It has a top speed of 45 knots per hour and a maximum range of 6,000 nautical miles. It has 21 bedrooms, 2 dining rooms, 1 entertainment room, 1 cinema, 1 30 by 30 swimming pool, and 2 helipads. All right, if Mr. Chun wants to buy this yacht, we'll give you an FB-99 helicopter." "How much is the yacht?" $88 million. Chun Zhao looked at Fei Lai. She quite liked the yacht too. "Can we go to the restaurant for a bit?" Fei Lai asked. On one hand, she felt that the yacht was really nice, but it wasn't cheap. At least, it was much higher than Chun Zhao's budget. However, this yacht was much bigger than her first yacht, Fei Lai. It was also called Hydra. Fei Lai felt that this yacht was fated with their family. Of course, Orflobier obviously didn't think that such a big deal could be settled with just a few words. Even if Chun Zhao didn't buy it in the end, he couldn't complain. The yacht was like a castle on the sea. It was between a large yacht and a super yacht. In Chun Zhao's eyes, this yacht was already very luxurious. If it was a super yacht, who knew how luxurious it would be? What's that opening for? That's where the speedboat is stored. As long as the yacht is docked there, the automatic machinery inside will pull the yacht in. Ofer Lurby continued. This yacht has fully automated navigation and navigation capabilities, and it can automatically check for malfunctions. In theory, one person can completely steer this yacht. In addition, The yacht is also equipped with a freshwater processor. In theory, as long as the freshwater processor is still working, the people on the yacht can survive even if they drift at sea for a year. Ofer Lurby's theory meant that the passengers on the yacht could catch fish from the sea to eat. That was why he said it was a theoretical possibility. In reality, it was impossible. Even if they could catch enough fish to fill their stomachs, relying on sea fish alone was not enough to provide all the nutrients the human body needed. Of course, Ofer Lurby was only stating a possibility, and he was also stating the superiority of the yacht. I really like this yacht. Feilai, what do you think? If you think it's okay, then buy it. Ofer Lurby's heart almost jumped out. He thought that Chun Zhao would need a few more days to consider. He did not think that Chun Zhao would make the decision so easily. This wasn't a small deal. Dad, why don't you ask me if I like it? Jerlin crossed her two short arms in front of her chest, unhappily. Ofer Lurby cursed inwardly. He had almost forgotten about this little girl. He had been talking too much with Chun Zhao and Feilai and had forgotten about this little girl. Jerlin, what do you think about this yacht? I like it too. Jerlin did not need the right to decide. She only wanted to be respected. Even though she was only 1 year old, she still cared about this. Only when she was involved in the family's decisions would she feel important. Okay, then Mr. Ofer, if you can remove the small change, I think I could pay now. Orf Lurby didn't hesitate much. $88 million. Even if it was a fraction, it was within his power to make the decision. Of course, Mr. Chun. I'm glad that you like this yacht. Ofer Lurby suppressed the joy in his heart. How do you plan to pay? Cash in full, Chun Zhao said. Ofer Lurby sucked in a breath of cold air. $80 million in one go. Even the super rich might not be able to take out so much money in such a short time. Then, Chun Zhao had Feilai and Jerlin stay on the yacht, while he and Ofer Lurby went to sign the contract and pay. Half an hour later, Ofer Lurby shook hands with Chun Zhao. Mr. Chun, Hydra belongs to you now. Thank you. I should be the one saying thank you, Ofer Lurby said. Is there anything else I can do for you? Help me fill up the yacht and send it to my house. Of course. Ofer Lurby also wanted to use this opportunity to visit Chun Zhao at his house and get closer to him. Chun Zhao was a super client of his company. Just Chun Zhao's identity as a super rich was enough for him to rope him in. After all, every super tycoon had a huge network of connections. Stephen was the one who had introduced Chun Zhao to him. This is my address. We'll be leaving now. Okay, goodbye. I'll send the yacht tomorrow. Although they could drive it to Chun Zhao's house right now, it was a big company. They still needed to give the yacht a full checkup before handing it over. Otherwise, if Chun Zhao found some small problems after the delivery, it might affect their future cooperation. Therefore, the checkup was necessary. After Chun Zhao left, Ofer Lurby gathered his engineers and maintenance team to do a thorough inspection of the entire yacht. Even a loose screw had to be replaced. Ofer Lurby did not want any problems to happen here. Chapter 1432. The Hydra slowly docked at the moon pier at the bottom of the cliff. The water here was deep enough, so it was suitable for a pier. Looking at the villa on the cliff, Ofer Lurby exclaimed inwardly. As expected of a rich person, the long, narrow, and high-quality private beach was already very expensive. It was also a very complicated project to build the villa in such a location. It wasn't that Ofer Lurby hadn't met rich people before. In fact, he couldn't even count the number of rich people he'd met. However, the owner of this villa had a rare personality. Actually, not every rich person knew how to enjoy life. For many rich people, their greatest joy wasn't to enjoy life, but to earn money. Earning money was their greatest joy. However, the villa before him was filled with a wild imagination. It had a high-tech appearance and a special location. It didn't seem to be a building of this time and space. This was life. When Ofer was rich, he would definitely buy a piece of land like this and build a house like this. In fact, Ofer Lurby was rich. As an executive of Seagate, he earned at least $3 million a year. This was already an income that most people in this world couldn't reach. However, people always competed and had their own desires. O'Furlerby got off the boat and walked past the pier. When he arrived at the elevator, the doors opened. When O'Furlerby and the Hydra arrived, the butler had already reminded Chinzhao. This was the function of the butler system. Every visitor would be notified to the owner. "Hello, Mr. Chun." O'Furlerby looked around and realized that Fei Lai and their children weren't at home. Only Chun Zhao was sunbathing on a chair in the yard. A huge brown bear lay beside him. O'Furlerby was shocked, but he quickly calmed down. Wasn't it normal for rich people to like to raise strange animals? He'd even seen people raise lions and tigers. "Isn't Miss Fei Lai home?" "Fei Lai and the kids are playing on the beach." O'Furlerby turned his head and saw a figure on the beach. How did it feel to have such a large beach occupied by one person? Chun Zhao stood up. "Please sit. Want some wine?" Chun Zhao asked. "Thank you." O'Furlerby replied politely. Suddenly, he saw that the bottle beside him didn't have a label. Nameless wine? Is this the drink of this super-rich man? Oliver Labill took a sip of the red wine. It was indeed a nameless wine. He had tasted the nameless wine before. The wine's aroma and taste were exactly the same as the one he had tasted before. Of course, O'Furlerby knew about the nameless wine. His company also used the nameless wine to entertain VIPs. The last time Chun Zhao went to their company, they had treated him with nameless wine. However, the nameless wine was too expensive, and the key point was that it was difficult to obtain. Therefore, even a powerful company might not be able to use the nameless wine to entertain important guests every time. "Mr. Chun, do you need to familiarize yourself with the operation of the yacht?" O'Furlerby asked. "All right." Chun Zhao nodded. "I need to feed my pet too. Princess, bring the beef out." To O'Furlerby's surprise, Princess returned, dragging the wrapped beef into the elevator. "Mr. Chun, what kind of pet are you going to feed? You actually want to use beef?" "Shark." Mr. Chun really likes to joke. With the help of the princess, 2 tons of beef were delivered to the yacht. Chun Zhao and O'Furlerby also boarded the yacht. O'Furlerby started to explain the operation of the yacht to Chun Zhao. Yachts nowadays weren't as technologically advanced as 10 years ago. They needed a dozen sailors. Yachts nowadays were all about simplifying the most complicated operations. In other words, it was like an idiot's operation. Of course, the yacht itself also had manual control, but that wasn't part of the teaching. After trying it once, Chun Zhao had already learned most of it. Then, Chun Zhao stopped the boat. "Here." Chun Zhao turned and walked out of the cockpit. "Mr. Orf, help me lower the lift at the stern." "Okay, Mr. Chun." Usually, the stern of a large yacht was very low and had a lift function. Chun Zhao and Princess dragged the 2 tons of beef and opened the foil packaging. O'Furlerby also came over, wanting to see if he could help. Chun Zhao clapped his hands. Just then, a few fins appeared in the water. "Shark, Mr. Chun, it's a shark. Leave the stern." O'Furlerby yelled in shock. He also ran away from the stern. "It's fine. They're my pets," Chun Zhao said casually. Guan Lauda, one of the 5 great generals, was the first to leap onto the back of the boat and land on the deck. O'Furlerby almost peed his pants. "A great white shark. That's a great white shark." Chun Zhao grabbed a large piece of beef and tossed it to Guan Lauda. "Go down. Don't be greedy." "Zhang Fei, it's your turn." Guan Yu turned around and went into the water. Then Zhang Fei's tiger shark flopped onto the deck. O'Furlerby didn't find this interesting. He only felt scared. He was afraid that the sharks would bite Chun Zhao and drag him into the water. However, to his surprise, the sharks seemed to be very obedient as they moved up and down. They didn't have any intention to attack either. Chun Zhao and Princess fed the sharks, and they would go into the water after getting their share. Just when O'Furlerby thought that Chun Zhao had finished feeding, the great white shark suddenly jumped up again. But this time, there was a bluefin tuna in the shark's mouth that had already been bitten to death. The shark loosened its mouth and tossed the bluefin tuna onto the deck. Then, it turned and slid into the water. O'Furlerby sucked in a breath of cold air. Wasn't this shark too smart? It knew how to please its master. Also, such a big bluefin tuna must be worth at least a few $100,000, right? Bluefin tuna was one of the most expensive ingredients in the world. Due to its huge economic value in human overfishing, it had become rarer and rarer in recent years. The bigger the bluefin tuna, the more valuable it was. With Orf Lurby's eyesight, this bluefin tuna was at least 650 kilograms. This was basically the maximum size of a bluefin tuna. There might not even be one bluefin tuna of this size caught in a year in the entire world. Mr. Orf, stay and eat raw fish with us later. Of course, it's my honor, Orf Lurby exclaimed. Chapter 1433. What was enjoyment? Treating luxury goods like daily necessities. Orf Lurby was truly shocked by Chun Zhao's extravagant lifestyle. Chun Zhao had only given him a few sips of the nameless wine, which cost $300,000 per bottle. This bluefin tuna probably couldn't even be bought for $500,000. After all, a 250-kilogram tuna sold for 70 million yen in Japan 2 years ago, which was about 455 renminbi. Now, Chun Zhao had treated him with such a huge tuna. Chun Zhao had probably spent more than $1 million on treating him for the day. Were all rich people this extravagant? In fact, Chun Zhao didn't even have the intention to treat Orf Lurby. He was just acting as a normal guest and doing his duty as a host. Fei Lai couldn't eat a lot of food when she was pregnant. This time, Fei Lai didn't have to worry about anything. Of course, the bluefin tuna still had to be specially processed. After all, bluefin tuna meat had a certain amount of excessive heavy metals. In Japan, many people would get brain hemorrhages from eating sashimi every year. It was because they'd eaten too much excessive heavy metals. If the heavy metals were ingested into the human body, it was very difficult to remove them. With current medical technology, there was almost no effective treatment. The body could only remove the heavy metals naturally. However, if it was an unprocessed ingredient, there was a way to remove the heavy metals. Orf Lurby received the perfect treatment. Other than the bluefin tuna and the nameless wine, Orf Lurby also ate unparalleled food. He didn't know what ingredient it was, but he believed that it was definitely the best. After all, even bluefin tuna sashimi couldn't compare to the taste. Mr. Orf, my eldest daughter Jerlin's birthday is on the 15th of this month. I'll hold a party and welcome you. Of course, it'll be my honor. Under the setting sun, the scenery on the sea was extremely beautiful. There were also girls laughing and running under the setting sun. They were all so enviable. This was life. Only with money could one obtain such a beautiful life. Orf Lurby didn't disturb Chun Zhao too much. After dinner, the car arrived to pick him up. Orf Lurby left reluctantly. Chun Zhao called Guret. Hey, Guret, it's me. Chun, what's up? Guret had a good impression of Chun Zhao. It was mainly because Chun Zhao had kept his word. In their previous 2 collaborations, Chun Zhao had brought her huge benefits. Moreover, he didn't take advantage of Chun Zhao, so Guret was looking forward to working with him again. My daughter's birthday is on the 15th of this month. Do you want to come? Of course. Gulai thought about it. He had nothing to do anyway. Oh, one more thing, Chun Zhao said. What is it? What do you know about Treasure Island? Gulai's eyes widened abruptly. You want to find the legendary Treasure Island? Yes. Before the 15th, I will help you collect all the information about Treasure Island. I guarantee that it will be the most comprehensive information in the world. The premise is that if we can find Treasure Island, I want a share of it. Sure. Since Chun Zhao had called, he was prepared to work with Guret. Chun Zhao had also tried to find information about the island himself. But after trying, he realized that he was too naive. Even professional explorers and pirates might not be able to find information about Treasure Island, let alone a layman like Chun Zhao. Therefore, Chun Zhao had to seek help from a professional. Guret was the professional. Chun Zhao actually didn't have many requirements for this expedition. First, he had to ensure Fei Lai's safety, not to mention the island. Okay, I'll wait for your good news. Since they had an agreement, Guret naturally started moving too. She already had some understanding of Chun Zhao from their previous 2 collaborations. As long as both parties could do their jobs and keep their promises, Chun Zhao would definitely follow them. Tonight, Chun Zhao didn't accompany Fei Lai. Instead, he entered the river map. Old Turtle, it's my daughter's birthday. Shouldn't you do something? There's still a few decades, Old Turtle said disapprovingly. What's the rush? For Chun Zhao, it was only a dozen days, but for Old Turtle, who was in the river map, there were still decades. Old Turtle, give me another internal alchemy. It'll be Jerlin's birthday present. Do you want it, or your daughter? Old Turtle rolled his eyes. Clearly, Chun Zhao wanted it himself. That's what I want. Chun Zhao didn't feel embarrassed at all. Then you can have this. It's Jerlin's birthday. Don't ask me for a birthday present again. We'll talk about it later. There's still a few decades. Hearing Chun Zhao's words, Old Turtle's eyes widened. He stared at Chun Zhao in anger. Oh, Old Turtle, do you have a way to make the internal alchemy float in the air? I don't, Old Turtle said immediately. Chun Zhao didn't know if he really didn't have a way or didn't want to help. Old Turtle, don't be so stingy. Teach me. Teach my ass. You can maintain it with a magic array, but you'll need at least 100 years to learn a magic array that can make my internal alchemy float. Do you have that much time? Even the river map. Is there any other way? Yes. Release the internal alchemy's spiritual chi and let it float on its own. But no matter how worthless my internal alchemy is, you can't waste it like this. I've cultivated for 1,000 years to make each internal alchemy. If you waste it like this, you'll run out of spiritual chi in less than 10 years. If you really want to waste it like this, give it back to me immediately. I won't let you waste it. Fine, fine. Chun Zhao immediately stuffed the internal alchemy Old Turtle had just given him into his spatial ring. He knew that if he just left it there normally, the internal alchemy would form a cycle. It would absorb as much spiritual chi as it emitted. At the same time, it could fill up the surrounding spiritual chi. Basically, as long as it wasn't used too much, the internal alchemy wouldn't be damaged, so Old Turtle didn't mind. But the internal alchemy represented Old Turtle's cultivation. Old Turtle was willing to give it to Chun Zhao because the internal alchemy wouldn't be used up. The cultivation was still his cultivation. But if Chun Zhao used it to waste, no matter how high his cultivation was, it would run out one day. Chun Zhao could only give up on the idea of creating an artificial moon above his Mingyue villa. Back then, Chun Zhao had this idea because of what Jerlin had said. Chapter 1434. Your world seems to have grown a lot bigger. Old Turtle could feel that Chun Zhao's world had grown bigger. However, he didn't feel any other changes. Apart from those that could cause strange phenomena, Chun Zhao's world that couldn't be seen could only be judged by perception. If Chun Zhao hadn't done anything, even the extremely powerful Old Turtle wouldn't have known about the changes in his world. That was why he thought that Chun Zhao's world had changed so much because he'd been cultivating hard. Chun Zhao didn't know what Old Turtle was thinking. He told Old Turtle what had happened. It meant that he'd absorbed a demon's demon territory. Your ability is very rare. Old Turtle looked at Chun Zhao. It was similar to the Dark North divine art in wuxia novels. However, there definitely wouldn't be many worlds for Chun Zhao to absorb. After all, how many people in a modern world could reach this state? They could be counted on one hand. Do you remember the simplified version of the clone I taught you? Yes, why? How could Chun Zhao forget? After all, the clone was one of his ultimate skills. Chun Zhao often used it when fighting enemies. With your current cultivation, you can cultivate the regular version of the clone. Chun Zhao's eyes brightened. That means I don't have to create 12 naked men. Every time I use it, Chun Zhao didn't have high requirements for combat power, but the problem was that it was 12 naked men every time he used it. What the hell was that? First, you have to be clear, Old Turtle explained. Old Turtle explained, using a clone will consume a large amount of your spiritual power, which will greatly decrease your strength. Chun Zhao's heart jumped. He vaguely grasped the key point. You got it. So, unless I can recover my spiritual power quickly, I shouldn't use the clone? That's right. Old Turtle nodded. That's why I didn't teach you even though you could already use the real avatar. If you use it in an important battle and you run out of energy, then once the avatar is defeated, you'll be a piece of meat on the enemy's chopping board, waiting to be slaughtered. Then, what's the difference between the real clone and the simplified version I'm using now? First of all, there's the difference in strength. Your avatar can use all the spells and abilities you know. Can I use a doppelganger? Chen Zhao asked. Sure. Old Turtle nodded. If you use your body double to create a clone with the same strength as you, he can also use the same body double. He also has a small world. No, you don't have a pocket world, Old Turtle said. The pocket world was created by your main body, so you can't use it. In that case, apart from the small world, the doppelganger can use any spells, including the external incarnation. In other words, I can be like you and continuously create avatars without limit. That's right in principle, but that's not the case in reality. No one can create an unlimited number of them. Why can't it be infinite? Because spiritual power can't appear out of thin air. The spells used by the doppelganger also extract spiritual power from you. When your spiritual power is sent to the doppelganger will be partially consumed. The doppelganger will then send it to its own doppelganger, and the spiritual power will be consumed again. This cycle repeats. Every time a doppelganger is created, the amount of spiritual power you need to consume will increase. How many times do you think you can maintain this? Then how can you create so many doppelganger? Chun Zhao had seen Old Turtle create hundreds of thousands of doppelgangers. Stupid. I can create 100 doppelgangers at once, then 100 doppelgangers create 100 more doppelgangers, and 100 more doppelgangers create 100 more doppelgangers. That's 1,000,000. If I use all my strength, I can create a few more doppelgangers. That's more than the population of Earth. Chun Zhao was completely speechless. This wasn't just a difference in quality, but also in quantity. If you teach me the real external incarnation chant, I think I can also create tens of thousands of clones. Old Turtle rolled his eyes. I'm guessing you can't have more than 8. That's impossible. I could create 12 doppelgangers before. How can I have fewer practicing the real version? I taught you the simplified version because your cultivation wasn't high enough, so the doppelgangers you created were also 12 weak chickens. In reality, the real body double's consumption is many times greater than the simplified version. Let's not talk so much. Teach me first. Chun Zhao was defeated by Old Turtle. It was the same spell, but why was there such a huge difference? Old Turtle could create more doppelgangers than the population of the world, but Chun Zhao couldn't even reach a single digit. Wasn't this too cruel? The real body double mantra was much more complicated than the simplified version. Just memorizing the mantra took Chun Zhao more than 10 days. All he said was cultivation and practice. Transform. Chun Zhao quickly made a hand seal. Whoosh! A figure appeared beside Chun Zhao. It looked exactly like Chun Zhao. No, this body double doesn't even have 10% of your strength. Plus, you used 2 seconds to cast the spell. Old Turtle pointed his finger and killed the clone. Chun Zhao screamed. The body double was a doppelganger, but they shared Chun Zhao's senses. They wouldn't kill Chun Zhao after killing the doppelganger, but they shared pain. Continue, Old Turtle shouted. Transform. Chun Zhao cast again. Old Turtle pointed again. Same problem as before. No improvement. Whoosh, still no change. Still no change, casting speed is faster, but it's still not enough. No change. No change. 10 times, 20 times, 30 times, 40 times. Finally, Chun Zhao could increase his casting speed to less than 1 second. I'll demonstrate it for you. Watch carefully, Old Turtle shouted. In an instant, 1 became 2, 2 became 4, 4 became 8, 8 became 16. The entire process took less than 1 second. According to Old Turtle's standards, Chun Zhao's speed didn't pass. Continue practicing. Prepare enough spiritual power and release at the moment you cast. Continue. No, continue. No, continue, not bad. This time, this doppelganger has 50% of your strength, but it's not at the same level as your real body. Plus, your casting speed is clearly slowed down. Continue. Please remember this book's domain name. Mobile version. Chapter 1435. 1,695 times. Change, change, change. In an instant, 1 became 2, 2 became 4. But when 2 became 4, Chun Zhao's mana clearly couldn't keep up. When 2 became 4, the 4 clones were much weaker. No. Are these 4 just decorations? How weak are they? 1,999 times. Too slow. 6 seconds in total. Speed up. 2,788 times. No, continue. 3,358 times. Change, change, change. Finally, Chun Zhao completed 2 rounds of clones in 1 second. 1 became 2, 2 became 4. Including the original, there were 7. Chun Zhao wanted to break through the 8 Old Turtle had mentioned, but he couldn't do anything if he kept changing. If he wanted to double his base of 4, he would need to double his mana value. That was the most he could do right now. However, 6 clones and 1 original were equivalent to 7 complete Chun Zhaos. The 6 clones knew all the spells that the original knew. Of course, if they attacked at the same time, the mana consumption would be 10 times higher. This was because the transfer of mana between the original and the clones would be consumed. This was also why Chun Zhao couldn't clone anymore. Spell returned to 1. The 6 clones were enveloped by the dark lava and fused into Chun Zhao's body. They had 6 times the original's strength and resistance. The original version only had 4 times the original strength when the 12 clones used spell return to 1. The original version, on the other hand, had 6 times the original strength. Chun Zhao canceled spell return to 1, and the 6 clones appeared again. The 6 clones also had their own dark lava. The amount was the same as the original. Chun Zhao's heart jumped. 1,000 swords control. The 6 original bodies and clones controlled 1,000 stone swords at the same time. The difficulty dropped by several times. Each body only had 100 or so stone swords. However, Chun Zhao wasn't satisfied. This meant that the technique of 1,000 swords control had improved, but the power hadn't. Old Turtle, help me forge another 6,000 stone swords. I've already prepared them for you. The 7 bodies used 1,000 swords control at the same time. The 7,000 stone swords were like a flood. Chun Zhao was overjoyed. This was the feeling, this feels great. Chun Zhao felt like he could fight against a modern army. 7,000 stone swords danced in the air, and they could coordinate with each other. The clone had strengthened Chun Zhao's combat ability. Rather, it could be said that his group attacks had reached an unparalleled level. Your fighting style is a little weak. If you knew more magic, you could use the cooperation of a few clones to defeat stronger enemies. Old Turtle, your way of thinking is outdated. Even if your fighting style is simple, the improvement is real. It was just like the famous 5 Fireball God sect in the online game, that he had played in school. Even if it was the simplest fireball technique, multiplied by 5 times, it would still be able to kill anything in its way. If Chun Zhao chose to give up his best fighting style for the sake of the cooperation between his clones and his main body, it would be a little like sacrificing his roots. If he had the time, he might as well train his own strength. Of course, what satisfied him the most was that his clones finally didn't have to run around naked anymore. Chun Zhao used 10,000 spells returned to 1 again and took out the Black Trident. The weight of the Black Trident was just right for Chun Zhao. He hadn't weighted before, but it felt very comfortable to him. It could even be said that he had never used such a weapon before. Chun Zhao sent his magic into the Black Trident. The water vapor in the air started gathering. Soon, a blue ball of water with a diameter of 1 meter appeared above the Black Trident. This was the ability of Chun Zhao's pocket world. It could automatically gather the water elements in the air. However, although Chun Zhao could control water elements with the pocket world before, he couldn't gather them into a ball. Did this mean that the Black Trident had this ability? After thinking about it, it wasn't hard to understand. The Black Trident and the Deep Sea domain originally belonged to the same master. Thus, it wasn't hard to understand why the Black Trident had this ability. However, if it was in the sea, the power of this move could be dozens of times stronger. Chun Zhao swung the Black Trident forward. The water ball spun at high speed and flew forward. As the water ball spun, it constantly shot out water droplets. Each water droplet was as lethal as a bullet. Chun Zhao had an idea. He jogged to the river. Another water ball was formed. This time, the diameter was many times larger than before. He swung the black trident forward, and the water ball spun rapidly again. This time, it was even more powerful. The water droplets shot out in all directions. Chun Zhao frowned. This move was powerful, but could hurt his own people too easily. Chun Zhao couldn't do anything about it. The water droplets shot out completely based on inertia. Their biggest feature was that they were densely packed and couldn't be aimed. It couldn't be like West's field of slowness, which could be controlled by West consciously so that his companions wouldn't be affected. There's a curse on your weapon. Surprise appeared in Old Turtle's eyes. Why didn't you get rid of the curse? What curse? I didn't notice. I feel like it's very smooth. This isn't your weapon, right? No, it's from the previous owner of the deep sea domain. I picked it up for free. Oh, I see. Old Turtle nodded. The previous owner must have left a curse on it before he died. If you don't get rid of the curse, you can't pick up the weapon. Can't pick up the weapon? Chun Zhao was shocked. But why can I pick it up? Nonsense. Even spells have their limits. The so-called being unable to lift, it is only applicable to ordinary people. If ordinary people haven't broken the spell on this weapon, of course, they won't be able to lift it, let alone use it. Chun Zhao was enlightened. So that's why. Chun Zhao had thought that the demon from before was the same type as him, a strength-enhancing demon that needed such a heavy weapon. It turned out that the black trident was so heavy because of the spell. Do you want me to get rid of the curse? Old Turtle asked. It's not hard. No, I think it's better like this. What a joke. If he got rid of the curse, the weapon would lose its weight and become useless to Chun Zhao. It would become a magic ritual implement. Although it could amplify water spells, to Chun Zhao, it would lose its most important close combat function. Please remember this book's domain name, Nine Heavens Divine Emperor Mobile Version. Chapter 1436. The next day, Chun Zhao went to the headquarters early in the morning. He planned to challenge the 8th level of the Tower of Trials. Last time was Chun Zhao's first failure. But that wasn't a true failure. In fact, it wasn't completely impossible for him to pass the 8th level. The strongest move of the frenzied ocean demons on the 8th level was to combine thousands of them into one move. But this move had a fatal flaw. It was ineffective against people who were flying. After all, the waves that the frenzied ocean demons could create were at most 100 meters in the sky. If Chun Zhao flew directly into the sky, the frenzied ocean demons wouldn't be able to do anything to him. Chun Zhao could totally avoid the first wave of attacks and then counterattack. The reason why he hadn't used other methods was mainly because of his obsession. Some things couldn't be avoided. If he encountered a situation that he had to face, he wouldn't even have the power to escape. For example, if his family was behind the waves, could he still escape? Chun Zhao hoped that no matter what problem he faced, he wouldn't just choose to escape. Chun Zhao greeted the people from the headquarters and entered the Tower of Trials. President, you're probably here to pass the 8th level, right? Judging from his expression, he's clearly prepared. Sai, when can I pass the 1st level? Patya said in despair. As the successor of the shaman's battle dance, Patya had no combat ability at all, so it was basically impossible for her to pass the 1st level alone. Chun Zhao entered the 8th level and took out his black trident. It was still a boundless ocean. Soon, a black shadow appeared under Chun Zhao's feet. It was the same as the first time Chun Zhao had come to the 8th level. A lone frenzied ocean demon had attacked. Chun Zhao swept down with the black trident. A huge force swept across, and a lone frenzied ocean demon was smashed into pieces. Then, a white wave appeared on the distant horizon. It's here. Just like last time, thousands of frenzied ocean demons had come. Chun Zhao tapped the black trident lightly on the surface of the sea. He calmly waited for the wave to come. Closer and closer. Closer and closer. He could already see countless frenzied sea demons stirring up waves in the boundless waves. Finally, the huge wave reached Chen Zhao. Just like last time, Chen Zhao was about to be killed instantly. Just inches away, Chen Zhao suddenly lifted the black trident and drew an arc on the surface of the sea. However, this breath was nothing compared to the huge wave. But as the arc was thrown out, it grew larger and larger. It was like a sharp blade cutting through the inner wall of a huge wave. Starting from his feet, the water parted, extending all the way to the top of the huge wave. The huge wave was completely cut apart. The giant waves were raised by the frenzied ocean demons, and when thousands of them raised the giant waves at the same time, there was some kind of connection between them. But now, because of Chen Zhao's interference, this balance had been destroyed. The originally boundless waves collapsed in an instant. Chen Zhao's eyes lit up. Success. Chen Zhao glanced around. Countless frenzied sea monsters were tumbling in the water. It seemed that they were planning to regroup and use the same trick again. He could only do it once. There was no point in doing it again. Chen Zhao didn't plan on giving them another chance. He lifted the black trident and dove into the water. A frenzied ocean demon pounced over. Chen Zhao swung the black trident. There was no seawater resistance. Chen Zhao realized that when he swung the black trident in the water, its power wouldn't be absorbed by the water. This was much more convenient than just swinging his fists. Last time, when Chen Zhao had chased that mutated two-headed shark, his fists actually couldn't kill it. Because of the seawater resistance, the power of Chen Zhao's fists was greatly reduced. But it wouldn't be the case this time. Swinging the black trident in the water was more comfortable than in the air. It was like there was no resistance at all. The individual strength of the frenzied ocean demons wasn't weak, but they weren't that strong either. Their strongest killing move was their combined attack. Their individual damage was too limited. Soon, the entire sea was dyed red. The corpses of the frenzied ocean demons floated on the surface. 1,000. Chen Zhao didn't make a mistake. At most, he could just add a few more. As expected, Chen Zhao received a notification. Level 8 of the Tower of Trials. Score. SS. Chen Zhao didn't know when the frenzied ocean demon had touched him, but there was no SS. But Chen Zhao wasn't a crazy demon for points. Recently, there was a trend in the association. Most people had passed the first level but were stuck on the second, so they all ran back to the first to farm points. To pass the first level with a better score, Chen Zhao didn't have that obsession. So he went straight to the 9th floor. Hell, the 9th level didn't have a human environment as the background. It was hell. The air was filled with the smell of sulfur. Chaotic spiritual qi filled the entire world. Chen Zhao was too familiar with hell. To him, this environment wasn't even as difficult as the previous levels. Of course, the environment of each level didn't affect the difficulty too much. What really affected each level were the monsters and demons guarding each level. Just then, a loud dragon roar came from the distance. Yes, it was a dragon roar. A black dot approached from the horizon. Black dragon. It was a black dragon. There was only one. But this black dragon was an enemy Chen Zhao had never seen before. It emitted a powerful dragon's might. Even Chen Zhao was affected by the dragon's might. Chen Zhao felt his magic being suppressed. This was the effect of the dragon's might. Even though Chen Zhao wasn't afraid mentally, his body was still instinctively affected. This black dragon's might was more than 100 times stronger than Gaia's. Of course, its body was even bigger than Gaia's. It was already shocking enough that it was 100 meters long. Human, the black dragon asked. Chen Zhao frowned and stared at the black dragon with full attention. You can talk. This was the first time a self-aware monster had ever existed in the Tower of Trials. Also, wasn't there a boss every 6 levels? He'd already encountered a boss on the 6th level. Why was there another one on the 9th? Would there be a boss every 3 levels? Hearing Chen Zhao's words, the black dragon was instantly enraged. Human, you're asking for death. Instantly, the black dragon spat out dragon breath. A terrifying heat wave attacked Chun Zhao. Danger! Chun Zhao tensed up. He suddenly flipped over and dodged. Please remember this book's domain name. 9 Heavens Godly Emperor Mobile Version. Chapter 1437. It wasn't like Chun Zhao had never seen someone stronger than him in hell. However, those that were stronger were basically the type that could crush him with one finger. They looked harmless, but once they started fighting, Chun Zhao wouldn't even know how to write the word death. But the black dragon before him was different. Chun Zhao didn't know why. He just wanted to kill the black dragon, and the black dragon did the same. It wanted to kill the human before him. It wasn't because this was the level of the Tower of Trials, or because the black dragon was the boss here. It just wanted to kill the human. Compatible enemies. The black dragon said an inexplicable technical term. What do you mean? I mean, you're gonna die. The black dragon suddenly swung its huge tail. Boom! Chun Zhao flew out in response. Before Chun Zhao could stand up, the black dragon's breath came again. Chun Zhao rolled to the side and dodged it. At the same time, he quickly took out his black trident and waved it. A water ball condensed with the trident and shot toward the black dragon. The black dragon's head was hit by the water ball. Its head tilted slightly, but it wasn't injured at all. The black dragon turned its head and looked at Chun Zhao again. Chun Zhao didn't dare to be careless at all. Avatar. Change, change, change. Spell return to 1. Chun Zhao stretched his arms and legs. After spell return to 1, the dragon's pressure on Chun Zhao lessened, but not by much. Originally, it had suppressed at least 20% of Chun Zhao's magic power. Now it was around 15%. Chun Zhao moved again. This time, he was several times faster than before. His strength was also several times greater. The black dragon's head took a solid hit from Chun Zhao's attack. The black trident hit the black dragon's head heavily. With a boom, the black dragon's huge head smashed into the ground. But in that instant, a terrifying pressure burst forth from the black dragon's horns. Chun Zhao's body froze. The black dragon's head went up, and Chun Zhao was sent flying. Neither of them had a good ending this round. The black dragon shook its head. That hit wasn't light. Chun Zhao also felt sore all over, but he was more concerned about the black dragon's counterattack. At that moment, Chun Zhao felt like he was hit by West's slow field. But it was different. The range of West's slow domain was limited. But against people with much higher magic power than West, the slow field was ineffective. But in that moment, Chun Zhao suddenly felt that he couldn't move. It was only for a short moment, but it posed a great threat to Chun Zhao. If the black dragon kept using this move, then what was the point of fighting? He could just lie down. Chun Zhao stared at Black Dragon warily, and Black Dragon stared back at him warily. He was different from those brainless gatekeepers from before. The Black Dragon knew how to think. Chun Zhao secretly assessed Black Dragon's strength. In terms of strength, it was about the same as his 10,000 techniques return to 1, but in terms of speed, it was slightly inferior. However, the Black Dragon's huge body gave it an advantage when it came to explosive power. His dragon breath and the spell that could instantly freeze him posed a great threat to him, but he didn't know if he had any other trump cards. Of course, his dragon might was also a great threat to Chun Zhao. This was a weakening halo, and it was permanent. Finally, Black Dragon moved. A huge magic formation appeared above his head. It shone on Chun Zhao like a searchlight. Chun Zhao jumped in fright, but the next moment, he realized that he was completely unharmed. What spell was this? Just as Chun Zhao was confused, Black Dragon spat out dragon breath again. Chun Zhao hurriedly dodged, but this time, Black Dragon's breath seemed to have locked onto him. Wherever Chun Zhao hid, the dragon's breath would follow. Damn, this spell is a tracking spell. By now, Chun Zhao had been through hundreds of battles. He immediately understood the effect of this spell. Unable to dodge, dark lava surged up and blocked in front of Chun Zhao. Chun Zhao hadn't planned on using dark lava so early. But now, Black Dragon had forced him to use dark lava to protect himself. Chun Zhao immediately melted into the lava. The lava stuck to the ground, so Black Dragon couldn't attack him immediately. This was Chun Zhao's ultimate life-saving technique. Black Dragon saw a large patch of dark lava spreading toward him. He didn't know what it was, but he instinctively didn't want to touch it. He immediately flapped his wings and flew into the air. But at this moment, the dark magma formed a straight line and chased after the black dragon that had risen into the sky. The moment it caught up to Black Dragon, dark lava turned into a sharp rope and pierced into Black Dragon's claws. Roar! Black Dragon roared in pain. At the same time, he felt something invading his body. A tyrannical power burst forth in an instant, and the dark magma that had already invaded the Black Dragon's dragon claws was directly repelled. Chun Zhao cursed. As expected, it was unrealistic to rely on dark lava's corrosion to deal with an enemy of this level. This guy was stronger and harder to deal with than the self-proclaimed god he'd met in the Amazon rainforest. That so-called god was only supported by the power of his believers. Also, he couldn't expel dark lava's corrosion from his body instantly like Black Dragon. Chun Zhao realized that in this world, those who called themselves gods were basically all amateurs. Whether it was the source of the fallen or the god in the Amazon rainforest, they were all fierce, but their greatest ability was to bewitch others. When it came to a real fight, they were like cowards. The truly powerful ones usually kept quiet. For example, Kong Mosa. Chun Zhao had never heard of him, but that was Chun Zhao's first time meeting someone at his level. It could be said that if he didn't have external help and a handsome guy's support, Chun Zhao might not have been able to get rid of Kong Mosa. The Black Dragon before him was the same. He didn't waste time talking and didn't care about life and death. Chun Zhao suddenly shot out of the dark lava. Holding the black trident with both hands, he attacked from below, wanting to pierce Black Dragon's heart. His heart soared. Alarmed, Black Dragon's pressure exploded again. Chun Zhao, who was in the air, felt awkward. He froze on the spot. But this time, Black Dragon didn't attack Chun Zhao. Instead, it swayed left and right in the air, keeping its body from landing. Chun Zhao couldn't help but frown. This spell was indeed very powerful. As long as it worked, it was almost undefeatable. However, Black Dragon seemed to have a hard time using this move. When he used it, he almost fell from the sky. The Black Dragon recovered, and Chun Zhao also broke free from the solidification. The two, one above and one below, stared at each other in the air. Both were thinking of countermeasures. Please remember the original domain name of this book, Nine Heavens Godly Emperor Mobile Version. Chapter 1438. Black Dragon looked down at Chun Zhao from above. Even though he always spouted arrogant words, he wasn't an idiot. Of course, he could feel that the human before him wasn't the lowly and cowardly human he described. At least, Chun Zhao had the ability to injure or even defeat him. Neither of them had an absolute chance of winning. In fact, both sides had many trump cards, but not all of them were effective against the opponent. For example, Chun Zhao's Imperial Thousand Swords. Its strength lay in group attacks. Against a thick-skinned Black Dragon, if one sword couldn't pierce through his defense, then the effect of 1,000 swords would be negligible. So, it was better not to use this move. It was useless anyway. Black Dragon was the same. He also had many spells. But after the short exchange earlier, he could already feel that Chun Zhao's defense and resistance were on the same level as his. Using those concealment spells was just a waste of his magic power. This time, it was Chun Zhao who attacked first. Chun Zhao's speed exploded. There was a pop in the air. Like an arrow leaving a bow, Chun Zhao shot toward Black Dragon. Fast. He was as fast as lightning. Even the Black Dragon's scales were standing on end. Chun Zhao's speed was his biggest problem. No, he had to use that move again. In the blink of an eye, Black Dragon unleashed his bloodline pressure once more. This ability was actually a transformation of Dragon Might, but it was even stronger. Dragon Might could suppress the weak both mentally and physically. Even for an expert like Chun Zhao, it still had a strong suppressive force. Bloodline pressure was even scarier than Dragon Might. It was a complete suppression. It could completely freeze the enemy's body. But bloodline pressure wasn't without weaknesses. First, it was too much for Black Dragon to use his bloodline power. If he used all his strength to release bloodline pressure, he would also enter a temporary weakness. It was like a human who used up too much energy and couldn't catch his breath. But the dragon race's recovery speed was insane. Even if he used up all his energy, he could still recover quickly. Chun Zhao smiled. This was what he'd been waiting for. The moment Black Dragon used bloodline pressure, Chun Zhao's black trident also flew out. Whoosh! The black trident pierced through the scales below Black Dragon's abdomen. Just as Chun Zhao had guessed, Black Dragon could stop him, but he couldn't stop the weapon's trajectory. Moreover, judging from the depth of the black trident, the Black Dragon was clearly in a weakened state when he used this move. Roar! The Black Dragon roared. I'll take your life while you're down. Chun Zhao dashed to the dragon's abdomen and pulled out the black trident. Instantly, dragon blood splattered all over Chun Zhao's body. It hurts. Chun Zhao felt as if his body had been splashed by lava. Then, the black dragon's wings slapped down at Chun Zhao's head. Chun Zhao landed heavily on the ground. The black dragon also fell. Chun Zhao stood up shakily. Gritting his teeth, he endured the burning pain in his body. The black dragon stood up again. Despicable humans. Just then, Chun Zhao felt something surge in his body. It was a strange, yet familiar feeling. Chun Zhao was sure that it existed, but he couldn't find what it was. The burning sensation gradually subsided. Then, Chun Zhao felt a gust of air around him. It was very small and weak, but it blocked the black dragon's draconic aura outside. It was very similar to draconic aura. No, it was draconic aura. Draconic aura? Chun Zhao's heart jumped. Had he obtained draconic aura? How was that possible? He didn't have dragon blood. How could he have draconic aura? Had he touched the black dragon's blood just now? That was even more impossible. In reality, one couldn't have dragon blood just by soaking in dragon blood. If that was the case, the dragon race would have been slaughtered by other races long ago. Only those with dragon blood, like Gaia, could absorb dragon blood to increase the purity of their bloodline. It was like how Gaia had absorbed the three-headed dragon's blood to increase her bloodline. However, the three-headed dragon was a mixed blood, so its bloodline wasn't pure. Gaia's improvement was also limited. Chun Zhao was sure that he didn't have dragon blood. If he wanted to obtain dragon characteristics, he had to go through the mouth of gluttony. Nowadays, Chun Zhao rarely used the mouth of gluttony to devour. This was because the power obtained after devouring might not be what he wanted. Moreover, after devouring, even the host wasn't sure what would happen after fusing with his own power element. It might even make him weaker. Chun Zhao didn't think that he had to change his power element. Even if it was a dragon, Chun Zhao didn't think that it was necessary. Thus, it was very strange that he had obtained draconic aura. Just then, an aura gathered above Chun Zhao's head. Sensing the aura, Chun Zhao looked up. Spiritual key. Ever since Chun Zhao had absorbed the spiritual key, he tried countless times, but he still couldn't figure out its use. Every key had a different way of absorbing energy and had different functions. When he'd absorbed the spiritual key with his primordial spirit, Chun Zhao had almost forgotten about it because he couldn't figure out how to use it. The golden key could allow him to evolve, but he still couldn't figure out how to use the spiritual key. Now, the spiritual key had actually been activated. Could it be that the spiritual key had given him draconic aura? But what was the use of the spiritual key? Even though the spiritual key had been activated, Chun Zhao was still confused. He didn't understand. He really didn't understand. Did the seniors who'd created the keys have something wrong with their brains? Why do they have to make things so complicated? Couldn't they have created something easier to understand? At the very least, they should have made an instruction manual or something. Had the spiritual key been activated by the black dragon's blood? Or by the dragon's blood? Chun Zhao instinctively felt that his guess wasn't right. It shouldn't be so simple. Although the dragon race was powerful, they were essentially not a special species. Suddenly, a thought flashed through Chun Zhao's mind. At first, The black dragon had said that he was a compatible enemy. Could it be because of that? Compatible enemy. Chun Zhao didn't understand, but he felt that it might be because he was the dragon's compatible enemy. Chun Zhao looked at the black dragon. The black dragon still didn't know that he'd obtained draconic aura. Although the range of draconic aura was very small, it blocked the black dragon's draconic aura. This caused the dragon's power, which had been weakened by the draconic aura, to recover to its peak. Chun Zhao gripped the black trident tightly and stared at the black dragon. Chapter 1439. The black dragon suddenly felt that the human in front of it had become stronger. Had he never used his full strength before? The black dragon's gaze sharpened. It suddenly spread its wings and made a strange pose. Chun Zhao was confused. The black dragon's pose was like the dragon in some Western pictures. Its hind legs were on the ground, its wings spread, and its head was facing Chun Zhao. Was the black dragon planning to make a performance art with such a strange pose? Wait, if it wasn't performance art, then it must be using some magic. The black dragon must have sensed something, so it decided to use its trump card. As expected, a magic array with a diameter of 100 meters appeared behind the black dragon. It moved forward and passed through the black dragon's body. The black dragon's scales seemed to have been washed and polished. They were black and shiny. With a roar, flames burst out of the black dragon's body and spread in all directions. Destroy! The black dragon pounced at Chun Zhao. Just then, another ring of flames burst out of its body. Another ring of flames. Chun Zhao hurriedly retreated. The black dragon seemed to be able to release these flames endlessly. The closer he got to the black dragon, the hotter the flames became. He couldn't even get close. How could he fight? Chun Zhao had thought that he could use his dragon's might to counter the black dragon's might and not be suppressed. He didn't expect the black dragon's trump card to make Chun Zhao unable to fight back. However, Chun Zhao was furious now. After using its trump card, the black dragon chased after Chun Zhao arrogantly. Chun Zhao smashed the end of the black trident heavily on the ground. Suddenly, Chun Zhao felt water under his feet. An underground river. Chun Zhao smashed the ground with the black trident again. Through the echoes, he seemed to be able to identify the water buried underground. The underground water wasn't deep either. It was only a dozen meters under his feet. Just then, the black dragon pounced at him again. This time, Chun Zhao didn't run. Seeing the black dragon pounce at him, Chun Zhao raised the black trident. Boom! Instantly, the ground cracked and pillars of water shot into the sky. The underground water that soared into the sky directly drenched the defenseless black dragon's heart. Before he could react, Chun Zhao had already charged forward. In this environment where the moisture in the air increased, not only did Chun Zhao's mana recovery speed increase, but his attack power also increased. On the other hand, the power of Black Dragon's Ring of Destruction was greatly reduced. Just like in a tropical rainforest, in a humid environment, a match that was lit would be extinguished in a short period of time. Chun Zhao flew onto the Black Dragon's back, not caring if the Black Dragon was happy or not. The black trident pierced through the Black Dragon's neck. Roar! The Black Dragon rolled on the ground, trying to push Chun Zhao off its back. But Chun Zhao held onto the Black Trident tightly. Seeing that this move was ineffective, the Black Dragon tried another one. Just as Chun Zhao was about to behead Black Dragon, he suddenly lost his footing. The Black Trident missed too. The Black Dragon disappeared? Disappeared? Missing? Where's the Black Dragon? Where did the Black Dragon go? Just a moment ago, he was holding the Black Trident against the back of the Black Dragon's neck. How did he disappear in the blink of an eye? Are you kidding me? Dragon blood was still dripping from the Black Trident. It wasn't invisibility. If it was the Black Trident wouldn't have fallen off. Just then, Chun Zhao saw a humanoid figure flying into the distance. What? Is that a Black Dragon? Chun Zhao was furious. Are you kidding me? A gatekeeper boss can run away? Chun Zhao charged forward and shot the Black Trident at the figure. The Black Trident pierced through the Black Dragon and fell to the ground. Chun Zhao immediately rushed over, but when he arrived, he saw that the black trident had been thrown on the ground. There was also a blood-stained broken arm on the black trident. It was a broken arm in the shape of a human. Chun Zhao picked up the black trident and the broken arm at the same time. The black trident had pierced the black dragon's arm, but he could have just taken it off. Why did he leave his own arm behind? Was it a greeting gift? Stop joking. That was a black dragon. Chun Zhao suddenly thought of a possibility. After the black dragon turned into a human, his physical strength wasn't as strong as when he was in dragon form. That was why he couldn't lift the black trident and could only cut off his arm to survive. Chun Zhao couldn't think of any other possibilities. But the gatekeeper boss had escaped. What was going on? Why did it run away? If he wanted to pass, did he have to find and kill the black dragon? But the world was so big. How was he supposed to find it? Never mind. He'd ask the handsome guy later. Chun Zhao wiped the blood on his body. The blood didn't burn as much as before, but he didn't activate the undead key either. It seemed that activating the undead key only gave him some dragon's might. Apart from that, it didn't have any practical use. Other than making him immune to the dragon's might, his dragon's might didn't increase his strength at all. Moreover, the range of dragon's might was very small. Gaia could make its dragon's might cover a diameter of 20 meters, but Chun Zhao could only cover a diameter of 1 meter. Thinking about it, Chun Zhao decided not to use dragon's might in case Gaia laughed at him. Chun Zhao looked at the broken arm in his hand. He was about to throw it away when he suddenly paused. He wondered if Gaia could extract dragon blood from it. Let's take it out and see. Chun Zhao glanced around. He was disappointed that the black dragon had escaped. The next time they met, he definitely wouldn't let it go. But the next time they met, it would probably be an even more intense battle. After all, Chun Zhao knew the black dragon's characteristics. The black dragon also knew Chun Zhao's characteristics. It probably wouldn't be as easy as today. Fortunately, he'd broken off one of the black dragon's claws. The dragon would definitely be weakened. Just then, Chun Zhao received a notification from the Tower of Trials. Black dragon escaped. Leave the Tower of Trials or continue searching. Leave the Tower of Trials. In the blink of an eye, Chun Zhao exited the Tower of Trials. When everyone saw Chun Zhao come out, they immediately surrounded him. President, did you pass the 8th level? West asked. Chun Zhao nodded. Yes. Guild leader, whose arm is that? The big boss of the 9th level. Can the limbs of the monsters inside be taken out? Not the ones before, but the one on the 9th level is special. Not only is it strong, but it can also escape. I fought with it for more than an hour, but it escaped, Chun Zhao said gloomily. Gaia, this is for you. Everyone was dumbfounded. It was understandable to give someone a gift. But what was the meaning of giving away a severed arm? Chapter 1440. Others might not understand, but Gaia understood as soon as she touched the arm. A pure blood dragon. As Gaia's power increased, she understood her bloodline very well. Unlike her, who could transform into a dragon, a pure blood dragon had to be extremely powerful to transform into a human. Can you absorb the dragon blood in this arm? Chun Zhao asked. Yes. Gaia nodded. But I need time. Just then, Jalanash landed from the sky. President, look, I can fly too, Jalanash said proudly. Not many people in the association could fly, even those stronger than her. Gaia had to transform into a fire dragon to fly, while Helith and Norma couldn't. Only Chun Zhao could fly. Jalanash felt that she couldn't catch up to Chun Zhao or Gaia in terms of power, so she had to catch up in other ways. Only Chun Zhao could fly. Jalanash felt that it would be difficult for her to catch up to Chun Zhao or Gaia in terms of power, so she could only catch up in other aspects. Only Chun Zhao could fly. Jalanash felt that she couldn't catch up to Chun Zhao or Gaia in terms of power, so she had to catch up in other ways. Now that Jalanash had mastered it, she immediately came to show off to Chun Zhao. Of course, most people were envious of her showing off. Jalanash was one of the few who could master water, fire, wind, and earth magic at the same time. She could also master 4 branches of elemental magic. Actually, Jalanash wasn't weak. At least in Chen Zhao's eyes, Jalanash and Helith were on the same level. But the difference was that Helith specialized in necromancy, while Jalanash was too mixed. She could basically learn all kinds of magic, but she wasn't proficient in any. If she could specialize in one, she might not be much weaker than Helith. She might even be stronger. Of course, Chen Zhao had no obligation or right to ask Jalanash to specialize in a certain type of magic. Chen Zhao wasn't her teacher or parent. Plus, his elemental magic might not be as good as Jalanash's. In Chen Zhao's opinion, learning magic was first and foremost about interest, not about how awesome one was. On the way home, Chen Zhao called the handsome guy. "Handsome, are you busy? I've never experienced what you humans call busy. If possible, I'd like to experience it." Chen Zhao saw that the handsome guy was in the sky above a battlefield. There were countless demons fighting below, which was why Chen Zhao thought that the handsome guy was participating in a war. However, when he looked at the demons fighting, although their numbers were endless, he didn't see any powerful ones. Even Chen Zhao could kill his way in and out. If the handsome guy really joined the battle, he could probably destroy both sides with a finger. "What are you doing?" he asked curiously. "It's a war started by my two followers' respective races. Whoever wins will get the chance to advance, and the loser's race will be exterminated." Chen Zhao shivered. This was indeed the style of hell. "By the way, my daughter's birthday is on the 15th of this month. It's a pity that you can't come to my daughter's birthday party." "Your eldest daughter?" "Yes." Chen Zhao nodded. "Oh, do you know what a compatible enemy is?" "Oh, did you encounter a compatible enemy?" "Yes, but I don't know what it means. I heard it from him. In human terms, it's a fated enemy. Every soul has its own fate. Every soul's fate will resonate with other souls. Friends, enemies, family, a series of relationships are all caused by the resonance between souls. But there's another kind of relationship, which is a compatible enemy," the handsome guy said. "A compatible enemy is like a natural enemy. Once they meet, they'll reject each other, hate each other, and kill each other until one of them dies." "Is this also a part of the rules?" Chen Zhao asked. "Rather than a part of the rules, it's more like a part of fate," the handsome guy said. "You humans have a game called jigsaw puzzles, right? What does this have to do with puzzles?" "Fate is like a jigsaw. A compatible enemy is a jigsaw that perfectly matches your fate. Since it's a jigsaw that perfectly matches my fate, it should be something like the closest relationship, right? How did it become an enemy? This is the magic of fate. Because it's a perfect match, they'll kill each other. Maybe it's called fate instinct. I don't know much about fate, but I've done research on compatibility. I've captured many compatible enemies for research. The most direct observation is that after killing a compatible enemy, the winner's talent increases. It's not an increase in power, but his future power or achievement will be higher." Chen Zhao sank into deep thought. Then the dead key shouldn't be called the dead key, but the destiny key. Compatible enemies would kill each other and steal each other's luck. The destiny key would steal the other's ability or something else. "Where did you encounter a compatible enemy?" "If it's in hell, I can help you. In the Tower of Trials, level 9, a black dragon." "Oh, you've reached level 9 already?" "Yes." "Did you kill that black dragon?" "No, he escaped," Chen Zhao said. "You're too careless. Next time, you need to be more careful. Originally, there shouldn't be any danger to your life in the Tower of Trials, but since it's a compatible enemy, then it could really threaten your life. Furthermore, every level after the 9th level is different from the previous ones. The 1st to 8th levels of the Tower of Trials are just monsters created by consciousness, but from the 9th level onwards, there are real enemies." The handsome guy was a bit anxious. "Maybe you should bring the Tower of Trials back to hell. I'll help you deal with this." "No, since it's my enemy, I'll do it myself," Chen Zhao said. "Are you that proud?" The handsome guy teased. "No, I just feel that I should at least respect my fate and my enemy." "You won the first fight, right?" "Yes." "He's injured?" "Yes." "Then you should go in while he's still recovering." "He escaped, and the 9th level seems to be very big. I couldn't find him." "Your enemies. Fate will let you meet. Even if you want to avoid each other, It's impossible. Fate will tie you together until one of you dies. He lost an arm. I don't think he'll be a threat to me. I said, don't be careless. As long as your enemy isn't dead, you can't be careless. Your enemy can threaten you at any time. Chapter 1441. On the way home, Chun Zhao's words kept echoing in his head. Even if he had lost an arm, would he still be a threat to him? Chun Zhao had been a bit arrogant, thinking that the next time they met would be Black Dragon's death. Now, it seemed that he was too naive. The next time they fought, it wouldn't be so easy. He really did not have the means to completely restrain the Black Dragon, even if it had lost one of its claws. Suddenly, a figure passed before Chun Zhao's car. SSSS. Chun Zhao quickly stepped on the brakes, but the person in front still fell to the ground. He didn't touch it. Could it be a scam? Chun Zhao got out of the car and went forward to check. Miss Shara? Chun Zhao did not expect Shara to be the one trying to blackmail him. Of course, Xiaola wasn't trying to cheat. She was just frightened. Chun Zhao pulled Shara up. Miss Shara, are you okay? Charla's expression didn't look too good, but Chun Zhao wouldn't agree that it was because she was scared by his car. I'm fine. Do I need to take you to the hospital? At the same time, he checked on Charla. She didn't seem to have any physical injuries, but her mental state was rather poor. No, thank you. I'm fine. Xiaola shook her head. Then, can I trouble you to send me home? No matter what, Shara had helped a lot when little Larissa was born. Chun Zhao was still very grateful to the people who stayed to help. It wasn't just she was family. He was very grateful for Shara, Daily Moore, and Navat Singer's help. Miss Shara, if you encounter any trouble, you can tell me. Maybe I can help. No, I'm fine. Shara's smile was a little forced. This is my phone number. If you need anything, you can call me anytime. Okay, thank you. It seemed like Chun Zhao was plotting something against Xiaola, but Xiaola didn't think too much about it. After all, she knew how pretty Fei Lai was. She wouldn't have any bad thoughts about her. Xiaola's house was not small. It was a detached villa in a high-class neighborhood. Miss Xiaola, is this your home? Yes, Mr. Chun. Would you like to come in for some water? No, I have to hurry home. Chun Zhao felt like he'd been staying at home for the past year. To be precise, he had become an otaku ever since he had little Jerlin, and he became even more otaku after he had little Larissa. As soon as he was done with his work, he wanted to go home and hug his daughter. Shayla stood in front of her door and did not enter. Her hands were trembling and her eyes were unfocused. She had an instinctive fear and resistance towards this family. Suddenly, the phone rang, pulling Shara back to reality. Hey, are you Miss Shara? Yes, I am. Who are you? You called me this morning. Did you forget? Are you Mr. Punkat? Yes, when can we meet? The sooner the better, Shayla said impatiently. Okay, where shall we meet? If it's convenient for you, come to my house. Half an hour later, a car stopped in front of Shara's house. Shara stood at the door, watching the people alighting from the car. Are you Mr. Punkat? Yes. Are you Miss Shara? Yes. Let's get straight to the point. Shara nodded. Punkat nodded and followed Shara into the house. I bought this house a month ago, Shara said. Xiaola said, but ever since I moved in, I feel that something is wrong. I often have hallucinations, and I can't sleep well at night. My mental state is getting worse and worse, and I even have hallucinations. Just today, I almost ran onto the road because of my hallucinations and was hit by a speeding car. Have you seen a psychiatrist? Punkat asked, frowning. As an experienced spiritualist, Punkat had handled many supernatural cases. Many of them were actually due to the client's mental problems. I've already. The psychiatrist said that I'm under too much pressure from work and suggested that I take a few days off. I accepted her suggestion, but in the few days I've been resting at home, my mental state has gotten worse and worse, especially in this house. I keep feeling a bit. As Shara spoke, she subconsciously looked around. I keep feeling like something is watching me. The more Shara spoke, the more frightened she became. Punkat nodded and stood up. But for the time being, he didn't find anything special about the house. Of course, this didn't mean that there was nothing wrong with the house. Can I walk around the house? Of course, no problem. I hope you can help me solve the problem. I'll try my best. Punkat nodded and got up to walk around the house. Xiaola, on the other hand, was following Punkat. Did you investigate the background of this house before you bought it? The house agent sold me the house. I didn't see the seller. The seller left the house in the hands of the agent, Shara said. Punkat walked around every room in the house and didn't find anything wrong. Miss Shara, I didn't find anything unclean in this house. Punkat, I'm not lying. Please believe me. I'm not saying that you're lying. There are many reasons for supernatural incidents. It might not be the house itself, Punkat said. Wait a minute. Let me get a tool. Punkat took out a palm-sized compass from his bag. The moment Punkat pointed the compass at Shara, the needle of the compass immediately jumped and became very unstable. Punkat raised his eyebrows. Shara had indeed encountered a supernatural incident. And from the reaction of the compass needle, the supernatural incident that Shara had encountered was of a high level. Miss Shara, have you encountered similar incidents in your past life? Punkat asked. Some people were spiritualists, so it was normal for them to encounter such incidents. Others had a spiritual physique, so it was easy for them to provoke such things. No, Shara shook her head. However, Punkat checked the house. There should be no problem with the house, and the compass was reacting to Shara, which meant that Shara had encountered a problem. Then, did you get anything strange? Like ancient coins, paintings, mirrors, or something like that? After I moved, I bought a lot of things. I'm not sure if there's anything you're talking about, Shara said. Looks like I'll have to check it again. Punkat took the compass and walked around the house again. Suddenly, when the compass in Punkat's hand was aimed at Shara's dresser, the needle jumped again. Was there a problem with the dresser? Punkat turned to look at Shara. Where did you get this dresser? I bought it from the supermarket. It's brand new. Is there a problem? Chapter 1442. Bought from a supermarket? Then it shouldn't be a problem with the dresser. If it was an antique found in a second-hand store, it was very possible. Many of the supernatural incidents that Punkat received were because the employer found something strange in a second-hand store, and then the supernatural incident happened. That was something placed on a dresser. It had to be said that any woman's dresser would have a lot of cosmetics. It wasn't easy to find something unusual among so many cosmetics. Finally, Punkat discovered that among the cosmetics, there was a wooden comb that did not fit in with the rest of the cosmetics. When Punkat picked up the wooden comb, he immediately felt a strange aura. The needle of the compass in his hand was also jumping wildly. Sure enough, there's something wrong with this comb. Punkat looked at Shara. Where did you get this comb? I bought it from a handicraft shop, Shara said. What kind of handicraft shop? Punkat asked. It's on Downey Street, 558? Punkat continued. Huh? Mr. Punkat, do you know that shop? Punkat was even more puzzled. How did you find that shop? What do you mean, how? I just went shopping and saw that shop, so I wanted to take a look. It's hard to imagine that such a special shop would exist in such a busy area. Is there something wrong with that shop? That shop belongs to a spiritualist. Only a spiritualist like me can find that place. But you don't have any magic on you, so it's impossible for you to find that shop. 558 Downey Street is very famous among spiritualists. But I found it. That's the strange part. Punkat looked at the wooden comb in his hand. How much is this comb? $300. Punkat looked at Shara. She's really rich. Even as a spiritualist, I can't spend $300 on a magic comb. However, 558 Downey Street shouldn't sell items that brought bad luck. Punkat's heart skipped a beat, and he suddenly understood. It wasn't that the people in that shop deliberately sold items that brought bad luck. It was because the magic item itself had magic, which attracted unclean things. If the buyer was a spiritualist, of course, this wouldn't be a problem. After all, no evil spirit would take the initiative to find trouble with a spiritualist. But Xiala was just an ordinary person, which became the biggest problem. Punkat examined Shayla a few times and confirmed that she was indeed an ordinary person without any magic. That was strange. It was impossible for an ordinary person without magic power to see 558 Downey Street. After all, that shop had a long history, and no ordinary person had ever been able to find it. Of course, as long as he could enter the store, the people inside wouldn't reject him. This wooden comb was a magic tool, but it was not the cause of the supernatural incident. The wooden comb itself would not harm its owner. However, the thing that was attracted by the wooden comb obviously harbored ill intentions towards Xiaola. Even if he destroyed the wooden comb, it would not solve the problem. If he wanted to solve the problem, he still needed to get rid of the thing that was harassing Xiaola. Miss Xiaola, if it's convenient, I might need to stay here tonight. Punkat looked at Xiaola. Shara hesitated for a moment. After all, she was a man and a woman in the same room, and the other party was not an acquaintance, so it was inevitable that she would be in a difficult position. However, Shara really did not dare to stay home alone. If there was someone with her, she would feel more at ease. Mr. Punkat, you can solve my problem, right? Don't worry. I'll protect you. Feilai, where are little Jerlin and Larissa? When Chen Zhao returned, he saw Feilai lying on the chair with a mask on her face. Chen, you're back just in time. Help me apply sunscreen, Feilai said. There's still too much sunlight by the sea. Chen, do you have any whitening products? Feilai asked. Actually, Feilai was not pale at all in the past. After all, she was a member of the coastal rescue team. How could she be pale? However, ever since she got pregnant, she rarely went out. The 10 months of pregnancy had whitened her skin a lot. Now, she did not want to tan anymore. I'll make some tonight, Chen Zhao said. Your 2 daughters are at the beach below, Feilai said. Although she was sunbathing on the chair, she could still see the entire beach. There were also many pets on the beach. Jerlin and Larissa would not be in danger. In the sea, the 5 tiger generals were the gangsters of this coastline. Apart from the 5 of them, there were no other sharks wandering around. The only things that could threaten the 2 children on this beach were poisonous creatures like sea snakes and conchs. However, they always had anti-venoms at home. Also, Walter, Black Ma, and White Ma often patrolled the beach. Their sense of smell could distinguish conchs. However, they did not appear often in Los Angeles. Injuries only happened once every decade. Chen Zhao could not stop his 2 daughters from playing on the beach because of this. As for sea snakes, they were easier to find, so they were not much of a threat. Little Larissa could already move on the beach with her limbs. At the moment, she was sitting on the beach. Beside her was a small bucket filled with seashells. Little Jerlin was carrying a small giant clam shell as she ran towards little Larissa with a face full of joy. Little Larissa, look, isn't it big? Hee hee. Yeah. Little Larissa laughed happily and clapped her hands with all her might. Only in the evening did little Jerlin and Larissa reluctantly be carried back to the villa by Black Ma and White Ma. Dad, Mom, we haven't had dinner yet. Why can't you let us play for a while? Little Jerlin crossed her arms in front of her chest, looking unhappy. However, her arms were not long enough. Because she was hung in the air by Black Ma, she looked funny. There's chicken soup tonight. If you don't come back soon, Princess will drink it all. The so-called chicken soup was stewed with undying birds. There was no such thing as confinement overseas, but Chen Zhao still wanted to help Feilai recover. However, Feilai could only drink 2 bowls of chicken soup at most. The rest would be taken by the 2 kids and their pets. Little Jerlin aside, little Larissa also knew how to drink chicken soup, and she liked it very much. Chen Zhao was now considering if he should go underground again. He wanted to see if he could hunt more undying birds. After all, the last one was almost finished. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.